Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at Lowe's out in Plano, Texas. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. I'd really appreciate that support, as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. That is a quick way to get in touch with me directly. And if you like daily 1-hour plant shopping videos, please subscribe to my channel with the notification bell on so you're always in the loop whenever I premiere live videos. You can see plant foldies, and for those that are new to my channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome, my name is Richie. I am out doing some night shopping at a big box store like Lowe's. As you can see, plant foldies, and I know that you've mentioned that you've seen quite a bit of crotons, but they're kind of hard to avoid in the fall season. Basically, crotons are everywhere, and you can see that we have a ton of crotons at this Lowe's. We're going to see if there's quite a bit of more crotons, but as you can see, this is the common croton petra. And what's interesting is we haven't even made it to the Halloween season, and we already have Christmas trees, and the holiday season, the holiday spirit is already around the corner. So we're going to go ahead and walk into the outdoor or indoor greenhouse, however you want to call it, at this Lowe's. So this is the Lowe's I typically visit, usually during the daytime, but I got off of work really late, but I felt like I needed to get a new big box store plant shopping video for my viewers and subscribers. So as you can see right here, the lighting is a little bit different. The cool thing about doing plant shopping at night is you don't have to worry so much about a lot of people. I mentioned this in a lot of my videos, but I really don't like to get people in my my videos, just to be respectful of people's privacy. Even though it is a public setting, I try not to get people in my videos. But as you can see right here, they've already got some of their holiday displays around the corner. You would think that it is already Christmas and the holiday season, but it is still the last week of September. So it's interesting how retailers, they've moved very quickly with the seasons. Same thing with plants though. When you think about all of the plants that we're going to see some of the more seasonally relevant plants like the crotons, as well as chrysanthemums or mums. But I am just panning way around here just to see what plants they have available. You can see that they have quite a bit of majesty palms here, and we're going to take a closer look at the lucky bamboo, or what you call the Dracaena sandriana. So most people think that this is actually legitimate bamboo. It is not. It's actually part of the Dracaena family. Most people will call this the lucky bamboo or the feng shui type plants. You can see right over here, this one is by Costa Farms, and you can see the price is for $15.98. Now with Dracaena sandriana definitely needs a lot of bright light. You also want to give it a lot of water, or make sure that it doesn't dry out completely. It is a little bit more of a sensitive plant when it comes to the watering. So as far as Dracaenas, most Dracaenas are mostly like low light tolerant as well as drought tolerant. But with the Dracaena sandriana, or what you call the lucky bamboo Dracaena, you want to try to give it a little bit more consistency on the watering. You can see right here they have another setup by Costa Farms. So let me know in the comment section, plant foldies, if you actually grow lucky bamboo. I know that you see these a lot in Asian grocery stores, but it's always nice to see that Costa Farms expands its plethora of plant selection. So I'm just going to go pan around and show you what types of lucky bamboo Costa Farms has available. And today we are going to be looking at what plants are typically found at a big box store like Lowe's. So we'll be looking at Costa Farms plants. We will also be looking at live trends plants as well as urban jungle plants. So definitely stay tuned throughout the video. I also want to just highlight a couple of plant care tips as well. So in my plant shopping videos, you already know that I'm going to be talking for at least an hour about plant care tips as well as plant pricing, what I would suggest you would add into your plant collection. So for the new plant foldies that are joining our channel, hopefully you will learn something new from me. And then I also encourage everybody to engage with me by leaving comments in the comment section. I pretty much respond to every single comment that is left, and that's just one way for me to learn from you, because Plant Foldies, when I say you guys are some of the best viewers, followers, subscribers that anybody would ask that has a YouTube channel, I definitely mean that, because I even did a live premiere really late. I think it was almost 9 o'clock at night, and it was a compilation video, and people were still up. I think there were more than 50, almost 60 people watching live. So I did want to take the time to thank you so much for that. Now, Plant Foldies, here is another type of lucky plant. This is called a Pachira aquatica, or what you call the money tree plant. This is a braided form, and this is also for $15.98 by Costa Farms. Notice how this is the braided form, and with Pachira aquatica, in its natural habitat, it actually is more so in like swampy environments. It can become such a large tree, and for the most part, Pachira aquatica is an easy to care for plant. I would say try not to let it dry out completely for too long, because it will decline in its health. As far as plant pests, Pachira aquatica is more susceptible to spider mites and mealybugs. So just make sure you are examining the leaves. You want to make sure that if you're able to give Pachira aquatica or money tree plants some more humidity levels, that is the best way to keep it healthy. And same thing with Dracaena sandriana. So we're going to go ahead and keep looking at these lucky bamboo. It looks like all of the lucky plants are actually placed on a shelf. So these are what you call the feng shui plants. And then I'm going to spin around here. And this is the Rescue Me 911 plants. These are all what you call the clearance plants. So you can see over here, Plant Foldies, we have a Xanthosoma, and this is 50% off. So normally it's $19.84. So it's half of the price. I have thought about getting a Xanthosoma. I just don't know if I really want to even worry about buying a clearance plant. Like it looks fairly healthy. There's a little bit of cosmetic damage on it. But the one thing I will say about clearance or reduced price plants are you have to be cautious about the plant. Like you want to make sure you're examining the plant. There is a high likelihood that the plant will have some type of plant pest, whether it's spider mites, mealybugs, thrifts, just because that plant at that point has really declined in its health. And whenever a plant is not healthy, it is more susceptible to plant pests. There's a certain pheromone that alerts plant pests to attack a plant. So you want to make sure that if you are going to buy a clearance item plant, that you are really inspecting it. Know that there is going to be a rehabilitation period, and sometimes paying that that sale price or that clearance price may be actually more work than you're intending to invest in the plant. I do also encourage people to rescue plants or buy clearance plants. Just know that you are saving the plant from making it to plant heaven, more so just a compactor or trash, but you're going to have to invest in a little bit more work if you're going to get a clearance plant. And as you can see here, Plant Foldies, I do like to show you guys succulents and cactus. We can see right here, this is an agave artichoke. That's pretty cool. And with a lot of these succulents and cactus, while I'm not so keen on the plant IDs, know that the general care tips are typically bright light, sometimes full sun, water, succulents or cactus when the soil is completely dry. The soil substrate needs to be more so fast draining. It doesn't really you don't want something that holds a lot of moisture. And if you're going to put a cactus or succulent in a planter, I would recommend growing them in a terracotta planter where the moisture levels are dry out quickly versus a plastic planter. Now over here, Plant Foldies, we've got bromeliads by Costa Farms. This one is for $13.98, and I actually have this particular bromeliad. I actually got it on sale or clearance at Kroger grocery store where they had it half off, or actually no, it was like $3 or something of that nature. So again, Plant Foldies, it is all about doing your plant comparison whenever you are plant shopping, whether it's at a local nursery or a big box store. It's always good to compare prices. You would be surprised that sometimes a local plant nursery is going to be more cost effective than a big box store or even a grocery store. Sometimes I get the best plant pricing from, say, HEB, which is actually a grocery store that is only found in Texas because it's a Texas grocery store. For those that are new to my channel, I am based out in in North Dallas. So the majority of my big box store plant shopping videos, my local nursery tours are going to be within the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But I also love to travel, and just a little bit about what I'm planning to do this next month is October. I will be going to the Texas Aeroid Show out in Houston, Texas, October 26th. I intend to get the early access tickets so that way I can film all of the plant content without having to be around the crowds whenever I go to a plant convention. And PlantCon 2024 Dallas was my second plant convention. It's really busy. There's quite a bit of plant lovers like yourself, and so I want to just make sure that I can get enough content for y'all. If you haven't seen Plant Convention, definitely check out my PlantCon 2024 Dallas videos. I have a whole playlist. I have compilation videos, so definitely check that out if you want to see what a plant convention looks like. And actually, plant foldies, I may have a plant shopping compilation tomorrow. It really depends if I can get more content filmed for y'all, and I really hope that you will still tune in to some of my plant compilation videos. They tend to be longer format where I will show 2 to 3 plant shopping videos and compile them into one, but it does give us a little bit more time to chat on the live premiere chat, or it just gives you more time for me to just talk about plants. Say if you're doing plant chores or if you're just hanging around and you want to hear about plants, definitely would encourage you to binge my content. I do appreciate those that actually do turn on my videos. I almost feel like it's almost like a podcast. And what's exciting is this weekend I will be going to the plant swap in North Haven Gardens, which is going to be in Dallas, Texas. I will also be meeting with the Cultivation Corner, which is a group of me, Janae Simone, and Steven and I Lift Plants. We will be filming our first podcast, so definitely check that out. That's going to be content that's going to come around. Now, as far as the plants that I am showing right over here, you can see that a lot of these plants are hanging baskets by Costa Farms. You can see that this is a Syngonium white butterfly. The 6-inch planter is $16.98. I do love the look of this one, and what I love about hanging baskets of Syngoniums is they have quite a bit of plants into one, which makes it a fuller Syngonium plant. Syngoniums are very easy to propagate through plant cuttings. You literally just need to cut them underneath a node, let the node kind of callus off, or some people just take the cutting and stick it straight into water. I tend to not do that. I like to take cuttings, and then I like to take cinnamon powder, and look, I pretty much dropped this Syngonium. Oops. Okay, it's okay though. It'll be all right. Like, it just had a little bit of soil fall off. And that's the thing about handling plants. Whenever I go big box store plant shopping, I'm holding my phone to record, and sometimes I just have little accidents like that. But you know what? A lot of my plant shopping videos are pretty much raw footage. I've mentioned this a lot. I don't really have a script when it goes to my big box store plant shopping videos. So I will literally talk to your ear off for an hour about plants. And you can see over here, we do have some Aglaonema red Siams. These are more rescue me plants or clearance plants. I might consider getting an Aglaonema red Siam if it's 50% off, because the normal price is $15.98. So half off. It's not a bad price. I just need to see if I can find one that has a little bit more fuller foliage. What you'll notice about some Aglaonemas, like this one for instance, it could get a little bit leggy. What I would suggest with Aglaonemas that get a little bit leggy is to actually repot the Aglaonema and bury the leggy part or the leggy stems into the soil, so you can promote more little baby pups to come out. You can get it to be a little bit more full. But Aglaonema red Siam, a classic Aglaonema, it's an Aglaonema I would recommend for anybody that is beginning a houseplant collection. It's easy to care for. Just like most Aglaonemas, they are marketed as a low light tolerant plant. Here's the thing about low light tolerancy with plants. You can grow a plant that is low light tolerant in lower light conditions. However, that plant is not really going to grow very quickly. It's going to have a more stunted or more slow growth pattern, because all plants need light to photosynthesize, to get their nutrients and to be able to grow. So yes, low light tolerant plants are easier in a sense that you don't have to worry so much about the lighting conditions. But on the other side, you're going to have a more slower growing plant, and you may not always get the best variegation or coloration when you put a plant in low light tolerant conditions. So I always say, as a rule of thumb, it's kind of like the habited place that you can actually live in on the solar system. Like, think of Earth as the habitat, the area that you can actually sustain life. Bright indirect light is kind of the same thing. It is a happy medium. That is the perfect conditions for plants. So if you are able to provide plants like that neon philodendron, for instance, more bright indirect light, it's going to thrive. It's going to give you better coloration. And you'll notice that this one is another Aglaonema red Siam, for instance. This one is not on 50% off, but you'll notice that it's because it has less legginess and there's actually more plants. So for Aglaonema, or for plants that I buy, I like to look at how many plants are actually in a planter. Like, this one has about 5 plants in one versus the 2 leggy ones that you saw for the clearance plants. So sometimes clearance plants are worth the price. Sometimes it's worth just buying the plant when it's still super healthy, even though it is full price. So it just really depends on your plant budget. I have gotten to the point now where if the price is right, if the plant is healthy, if the plant gives you joy, then go ahead and buy it. Over here is a Costa Farms trending tropical plant. This one is an Epipremnum pinnatum Baltic blue, and this is another plant that is endemic to my home country, which is the Philippines. And you already know, plant foldies, I like to celebrate the fact that I am Filipino. I am a proud Filipino. To my kababayans, please make sure you say hello. I want to connect with even more Filipinos out there. I just feel like the Philippines, whenever I went on vacation in August, had so many of these plants that we are seeing at big box stores just going rampant, growing wild in the jungles, growing on the sides of the road. And it's because the Philippines has conditions, tropical conditions, that are more conducive to these plants really growing to their maximum potential. Like, for instance, Aglaonema were so readily available in the Philippines, and they were more cost effective. So like, an Aglaonema was about 250 pesos, 300 pesos, maybe 500 pesos for a 6-inch planter. But when you convert that, the US dollar was about 55, maybe even close to 60 pesos per dollar. That is really cost effective compared to these Aglaonema, for instance, which are $15.98. I mean, I still think that $15.98 is a fair price for the United States. I mean, look at how beautiful this one is. And see, this is an example of an Aglaonema red Siam that is healthy, that is not leggy. And you can see that there are about 7 to 8 plants in this container. So I wouldn't mind paying full price for this Aglaonema red Siam. I'm actually in the hunt of adding more Aglaonema red Siam to my plant collection. Plant foldies, I always ask the question, are there certain plants in your collection where you don't mind having multiples of? Please leave that in the comments. I will tell you, Aglaonema red Siam is one of them. Aglaonema silver bay, any type of pothos plant is another one. Any type of neon colored philodendron would be plants that I don't mind having multiples of. And also, like, for instance, philodendron micans, you can never have enough philodendron micans. So if anybody's always wanting to offer those plants to me, I would definitely add them, even though I have multiples of it. So I am curious about what plants you would have multiples of. And then over here, guys, everybody's favorite, this is your Hydra Helix, or what you call the Hedera Helix mini ivy, Adam ivy. I really like that. And long story short, I mispronounced Hedera Helix as Hydra Helix. It is a plant foldy inside joke. I know some of you, and I know that you are watching this video live. Tree, Kathy, some of my viewers and subscribers, I know you guys count how many times I say Hydra Helix. You might actually get a couple today. And just a little bit of some news as far as my merchandise is concerned, I will be creating a Hydra Helix t-shirt. You already know, once I get my shop, my online shop ready to go, definitely check that out. And if you are interested in buying my Grow Folds t-shirt, I do have them available. They are $20 right now with the shipping is also included. So if you are interested, please send me a direct message on Instagram. I don't really have a Etsy shop or any online website to sell some of my merchandise, but just know that I will be selling t-shirts, I will be selling other merchandise. And For those that have watched my grandmother's video where we did a houseplant tour, saw all of her gorgeous plants, know that she's actually going to be propagating plants, and we will be selling grandmother's plants. So if you're interested in that beautiful black begonia, her syngoniums, her aglaonemas, stay tuned for that. I will be selling those in the coming months as she gets her stock populated. And it's not going to take that long for my grandmother because she is really good at propagating healthy looking plants. Speaking of healthy looking plants and beautiful plants, notice how beautiful this Pilea Dark Mystery is. This is another Costa Farms exotic angel plant. This one is in the 5-inch planter for $7.98, and you will see that I'll pick up a lot of Costa Farms exotic angel plants. I always feel like exotic angel plants are a staple. They are easy to come by in terms of big box stores, and for the most part, a lot of these exotic angel plants by Costa Farms are easy care plants. For instance, like this Dracaena Lemon Surprise. This one is for $5.98. It's a starter 3.5-inch planter. I am always tempted to actually buy a bunch of like Costa Farms exotic angel plants just because they're so readily available. Now this is a really cool Hoya. This is a Hoya Curtsii, and this one is for $20.98. This one is in a 8.5-inch hanging basket, and with Costa Farms hanging baskets, they don't always have that many Hoya selections, so it's always interesting to find a Hoya Curtsii. Sometimes you'll see some other Hoyas available. I have yet to see, I think, a Hoya Chelsea hanging basket. That would be super cool. Typically you'll find like Hoya Carnosa, Crimson Queen, or Crimson Princess by Costa Farms, but that's really nice to see the Hoya Curtsii. Now, I am going to keep panning over some of these exotic angel plants. Like this one is another Hedera Helix, or what you call the Hedera Helix Mini Ivy. Beautiful plant. This one is for $7.98. I like that the leaves are a little smaller. It's definitely a mini ivy, and I really like that the variegation looks really nice. And then over here we've got another Fittonia. With Fittonias, they are very thirsty plants, so you never really want their soil to dry out completely. If their soil dries out completely, it'll get to the point where the plant will start to look very saggy and droopy and very sad. But if you water it in time, within a couple of hours, it will perk up again. Speaking of plants that also like water are crotons. This is a croton batik for $7.98, and you already know for some reason fall season we see a bunch of crotons. I do love the look of crotons. I say this in all my videos. I do think that everybody should give crotons a try. Now, growing crotons indoors is going to be a little bit more challenging because crotons require quite a bit of light. So the best way to grow a croton is out on like a patio, or if you're able to grow them in full sun outside, they're going to live the best life. You do need to make sure you stay on top of the watering for crotons. You don't really want them to dry out completely, so water them consistently and they will do fine for you. Even added humidity will also keep a croton happy. Now, speaking of humidity, we also have Fittonias here. So this one, it's got more of that white veining Fittonia. This one is for $7.98. I love the look of that. And you can see we have another Pilea Pan Am. I'm surprised I've been able to grow a Pilea Pan Am because I've let this Pilea dry out completely. And although it does look a little sad, but as soon as I water it, it perks back up. Then that's the problem with some of my plant foldies is I am an underwaterer. So sometimes I just don't have enough time to water the plants. Like for instance, this Dracaena Florida Beauty, even though it is a Dracaena, this Dracaena doesn't really like to tolerate being underwatered. Like you want to make sure that you don't let the soil dry out completely for too long. Like obviously if you let the soil dry out completely, make sure you give it a good soak, but long droughts definitely decrease the plant's health. It's definitely not going to be happy. And with this Dracaena Florida Beauty, it also needs quite a bit of light. Most Dracaenas are low light tolerant. This one is not a low light tolerant Dracaena, so you want to make sure that you are giving it that bright indirect light. And that comes back to my point. Even though certain plants are in the same genus or family, that doesn't mean that their plant care tips are always going to be aligned with the general family genus. So it's always good to do research on plants. Like for instance, Begonia Rex, This is a plant that I love the look of, but it's very challenging. I actually added one into my collection and I started to not water it and it started to get droopy. The thing about Begonia Rex is you want to make sure that you are watering it from the bottom. So bottom watering means you're going to fill up a saucer with water and actually stick the whole planter into it and let that absorb from the bottom, because Rex begonias, when you get their stems wet, if you get their leaves wet, they can rot, and that's just a quick way to kill them. So you don't want to send a big Rex begonia to plant heaven prematurely because of just how you water them. Here is an Aglaonema red Siam again. Now this one is by Urban Jungle. What I love about the Aglaonema red Siam is the pink stems. Really nice looking pink stems, and also it is an easy to care for plant. Like for Aglaonema, as far as watering, you want to make sure that you water them when the soil is completely dry. Over watering is what actually ends up killing Aglaonemas. They are more tolerant of being underwatered or drought conditions. So even if you don't water them for a while, they will still live. Now obviously you don't want to do what I did, and that's what I did with my import Aglaonema from Indonesia. I literally didn't water them for more than a month, and then I wondered why a lot of their leaves started to fall off, and eventually they just got super leggy to the point where they just declined in health and they ended up making it to plant heaven. You know, I try not to think too much about it, but I will say I did spend quite a bit of money importing them, and just that negligence on just watering really destroyed some of my plants. And I'm trying my best, even though I am doing big box or plant shopping videos. I will say, plant foldies, I have literally bought a plant almost every day since I got back from PlantCon 2024 in Dallas, and it's because I'm really inspired, number one. Number two, your viewership, your likes, your comments, your posts, your shares have really inspired me to keep going out and filming plants. So like even today, like I was hoping to just do a compilation, but I figured since I've already filmed this video late last night, I wanted to go ahead and premiere a brand new video. But whenever I make new videos, it also opens the door for me to go actual legit plant shopping. So we're gonna see what plants I do add. I do have caution in terms of just how many plants I'm adding all at once, because if you actually add a lot of plants, and it's very easy to do it, especially when you are big box or plant shopping, it can be overwhelming. And I've always said this, even though I find like a really cool plant like this is what I would call a plant find at a big box store. This is a Monstera siltepecana in a hanging basket, an 8-inch hanging basket by Costa Farms, $20.98. You don't often see this. And for me, if I wasn't watching my plant budget or even the amount of plants I would add to my collection or have added to my collection, I would pick that up in a heartbeat and buy it, just because it is a plant you don't typically see. See, after picking up the Alocasia, you can see we've got an Alocasia poly. I love the look of the Alocasia poly. It just does not love me, and I am just scared that even though I have converted my Alocasia into semi-hydroponics, which is basically pon and leca, I don't know if I'd be able to grow a Alocasia poly sustainably for a long time, just because this Alocasia for some reason tends to be even more spider mite prone than Alocasias. I even say Alocasias as well as Hydra helix. The English ivy, those are plants that are just susceptible to spider mites. So we'll see if I ever add an Alocasia poly. It is a beautiful one. So is that Dracaena dorado that I picked up, and also a Scindapsus trubii moonlight. So one thing I saw about Scindapsus is I didn't realize that there were so many variegated varieties. After going to PlantCon 2024 in Dallas, just seeing the different types of Scindapsus variegated forms are really cool. They even have a Scindapsus trubii moonlight variegated form. Just the blue Scindapsus trubii moonlight, though, just that common one, has a beautiful look. And to get that bluish color, you want to give it a lot of light, bright indirect light. Chinese elm bonsai, this one is for $32.98. I really look at like that. I would also call that the Ulmus pulva. Beautiful bonsai. I'm glad that Costa Farms is actually releasing more bonsai. I think that needs to be a little bit more mainstream. And then you can see right here we've got calatheas, and yes, I made a very very bad decision by going to Home Depot the other night and purchasing 3 large Calathea rospicta. I got a Calathea dotty, and you know what? Calatheas, I'm telling you, Calatheas are the biggest temptress. They will tempt you to purchase them because they have such beautiful foliage. The problem with Calatheas is, number one, they are spider mite prone. Number two, they're very finicky plants in the sense that if you don't give them the right water, if you keep their soil dry, they will get very crispy very quickly. They also require higher humidity. They are also very much spider mite prone, and it's just such a hard plant to grow long term. Now, if you're able to grow them long term into large sizes, then kudos to you. Geonanthus plants or geoplants, Casa Farms Trending Tropicals. This one's for $19.84. I ended up buying this at a different Lowe's, and I was actually attracted to this plant because of the dark foliage. I really love the dark purple undertones, the tones in general, and when you touch the plant, it's got a waxy plant like texture about it. Now, I've been told that this plant is actually really challenging to grow long term. It is a plant that does not like to dry out completely, so you want to make sure that you are keeping the soil moist. You don't want it to dry out completely. And I think as far as a geoplant, it also prefers higher humidity. So you have to ask me why I ended up buying the plant. Well, you know what? It's the same thing with some of these plants that are challenging. Sometimes I just find them beautiful, and sometimes I'm willing to attempt to conquer these challenging plants and try to grow them sustainably in my home. What works for me though is the fact that I have been able to set up my plant room. So my plant room has humidity levels that can get up to 80% with my humidifier, so it's made plant care easy for me. And that's the thing, again, plant foldies, whenever you talk about plant care is really more I guess in line with how close can you get the plant's natural environment? Are you able to get the humidity levels? Are you able to get the certain soil substrate that it grows? Do you have it growing up a totem pole or a moss pole? How much light are you giving it? The closer you can get it to its natural habitat or natural environment, you're going to have a happier plant that's going to really give you the full potential. Like over here, again, we have some more syngoniums. This is another syngonium hanging basket. I think maybe this is a syngonium berry illusion. The thing about syngoniums is they actually like to climb. Most syngoniums like to climb, but some people will grow them as a trailing plant. The thing about growing a syngonium as a trailing plant versus growing them up a totem pole, a moss pole, or some type of support where they can climb, the leaves are going to actually get smaller and smaller as it actually trails down, because that's really not the way it wants to grow in the wild. Now with syngoniums, if you have them climbing, you can always take cuttings and actually cut that back down to keep it a little bit more full and stick the cuttings that you propagate back into the mother plant. And you can never get wrong with actually getting a neon pothos. I love neon pothos plants. They are stunning as well. And, they're easy to care for plants. These are plants that I feel like you can get away with if you are a beginner, because the care tips for a neon pothos is, as long as you can provide it with a lot of bright indirect light, you will keep the neon color variegation. And it is a pretty fast growing plant. Same thing with the philodendron heteroraceum neon. I like the neon colored foliage of this one, and if you compare it to the neon pothos, this one is a little bit slower growing. Actually, philodendron heteroraceum are slower growing versus an epipremnum aureum, or what you call a pothos plant. But as you can see, again, this plant actually wants to climb. So as it continues to trail down, the leaves become a little bit smaller. You want to make sure that you are giving it quite a bit of light. And when you put both those neon plants together, they are absolutely stunning. I also love the look of this Syngonium white butterfly. Again, this isn't a 6-inch planter, and this is for $16.98. I like Syngonium white butterfly. I feel like if you give it quite a bit of light, it's going to have that grayish tone about it. And as far as a plant that has that light foliage, what a beautiful plant. It would be a plant that could light up a darker area in your home. Just know that Syngoniums could potentially tolerate lower light conditions. The problem is with lower light, your Syngonium is actually going to become more leggy. It's going to shoot more runners versus like foliage. So that's just some of my tips as far as Syngoniums. Now, if you want an easy plant, and I say this in all my videos, plant foldies, get yourself a Raven ZZ or a ZZ plant. plant. This one is a trending tropicals plant, again for $19.84. I really love the look of a a Raven ZZ. And what I love about Raven ZZ is as the leaves mature, they become a darker black foliage. I love how it's naturally shiny, and it's just a beautiful plant. Same thing with a ZZ plant. So this is just a green version of the Raven ZZ, $15.98 in a self-watering planter by Costa Farms. And you know, Costa Farms, they typically have really cost-effective pricing. I am a fan of Costa Farms. There are some people who are not about big box plants like Costa Farms, just because some people believe that these plants actually take away from local plant nurseries and businesses. I would say we have to look at it from a middle ground. Like, yes, if you want cost-effective pricing, you can go to a big box store and purchase that. And you have to think, big box stores also provide a lot of plants that may not be readily available for everybody. You know, that's the reason why I like to do daily plant shopping videos at big box stores, because they're accessible to everybody. Not all cities and towns and states might have, you know, really cool local plant nurseries, but I can guarantee you there's probably going to be a Walmart, there's probably going to be a Lowe's, there's probably going to be a Home Depot that will provide these big box store plants. And, you know, for me, as long as plants are accessible, as long as plants are cost effective, I do think that we have to be a little bit mindful about just having a negative connotation about big box store plants. I do think that local plant nurseries, we do need to support them. I definitely support them. And sometimes you will get a better quality plant when you buy at a local nursery, but big box stores, they're here to stay. I just wish a lot of these big box store plants wouldn't end up making it into plant heaven. You know, there is a demand for them, but oftentimes a lot of these big box store plants, like for instance, these Monstera deliciosas, may not get sold. And it's just sad because they end up just going into clearance. And most of these clearance plants end up actually going into plant heaven / compactor or trash. But as I pan away over here, this Lowe's actually has quite a bit of plants. Even though I haven't really seen any new releases of Costa Farms Trending Tropicals, the things that I'm looking for would be like a Costa Farms Trending Tropical Syngonium albo and a Monstera albo. I've heard that a certain big box store has a Monstera albo, so I will be plant hunting, trying to get that on film. So definitely make sure that you are subscribed to my channel, Plant Foldies, with the notification bell on. I've noticed that some of you guys may have missed some of my live premieres because you may not be notified. So definitely check if you have the bell notification on. That way you stay in tune with all of my new content. And you can see right here, I am a fan of Monstera deliciosas, even the green form. So there's a lot of variegated Monsteras, but the green form is absolutely stunning. Like, I love the fact that it's just green, and having a one that's pretty perfect, that doesn't have a lot of cosmetic damage. That's awesome. And as I pan around here, Dieffenbachia, you'll see that I may have added a Dieffenbachia to my collection because they have such beautiful foliage. And here, I like this Live Trends planter. It looks like wood, and that's the thing about Live Trends planters. They just have the most stylish, most modern looking planters, something that is really going to fit into my plant aesthetic. Like right here, you can see that this ZZ Zenzi, or the more compact version of a ZZ plant. I even like the fact that this planter is a little bit more of a matte finish. I don't really like shiny glazes, and that just gives it more of a more modern vibe about it. And I don't know, Zenzi ZZ or ZZ Zenzi plant, I need that plant. You know, I've been collecting ZZ plants as well because they are easy to care for plants. But as you can see here, Plant Foldies, I'm just going to keep panning on all of the plants that you can see. This one is an urban jungle plant. This one is an Alocasia Regal Shield. Now with Alocasia Regal Shield, it can get really large as far as an Alocasia, and this Alocasia, with its velvety satin tone, it is a little bit more spider mite prone than the typical Alocasia. I mean, I would just say Alocasias in general are spider mite prone magnets, but that particular one, just like the Alocasia poly, tends to get spider mites a little bit more so than the typical Alocasia. And then over here, Plant Foldies, we've got a bunch of African violets. I thought African violets would be challenging to grow, but honestly, as long as you can provide them bright indirect light and you keep their soil moist and you water them from the bottom, like do bottom watering, then you are good to go. But as I walk away and pan away, let me just show you some more of the views here, and then we're going to end up going outside to see what plants that they have right over here. side, you can see that we've got a bunch of croton petras. This is the most common croton, and if you notice the diversity of colors they have for each croton petra, some crotons have more of a dark foliage, some more have more yellow, some more have more like orange, and you can definitely tell that this is a fall display. For some reason, crotons come out whenever it's fall, and I think it's because it just has a lot of fall colors. Just know that crotons are plants that come from a tropical environment. Like in the Philippines, they are everywhere, and when you let them grow to be their full potential, they can be 15 to 20 feet in height, full-blown trees with such beautiful colorful foliage. Croton plants definitely need a lot of light, so if you can't provide the light they need indoors, then you're going to have a little bit of trouble with crotons. Crotons will also drop its leaves when it is not happy, so if it's not getting enough light, if it's not getting enough water, it will quickly decline in its health. It is almost similar to like growing a ficus plant, so definitely like pay attention to your lighting conditions whenever you're trying to grow crotons. And I find this interesting because Nature's Way has also provided like mixed planters, fall planters of, you know, golden pothos mixed with a croton plant. I find that interesting. And, you know, with planters or mixed planters of tropical plants, I don't know how I really feel about them. I don't really want to add them to my collection. I always like to keep the plants in their separate planters. But as you can see right here, we've got a golden pothos and we've got some croton plants. So if you want to grow these outdoors, you can as a patio plant. Just know that when the temperatures start to get colder, you won't be able to grow those outdoors, especially crotons, because crotons prefer more hot, humid environments versus cooler weather. If you have crotons grow in a cooler weather, it will most likely go into shock and it will quickly drop its leaves. But I like to walk around outdoors as well at night. I find it peaceful. I find that you can see all of the other plants, like this Zora plant right here, really nice looking tropical flowering shrub. That one is the Maui red Zora. I really like that as well. And again, with this plant being a tropical plant, it's going to need quite a bit of light, and if you're able to give it humid conditions, it's going to really thrive. And I'm going to walk past all of these crotons. Again, plant foldies, if you made it this far to the video, thank you. Please make sure you are hitting the like button. I can't tell you how much it helps my videos reach out more people. So I'm hopefully hitting the like button. I'm hoping that we can get more than 100 likes for this video. So hopefully you can do that. And then also let me know in the comment section what you think about crotons and what you think about plant shopping at night. Do you ever just go get in your car, want to go plant shopping and just have a relaxing evening? I've done that before and I will continue to do that again, is just plant shopping in general, but especially late at night. And you can see right here, massive cordyline Hawaiian tea plants. I really like the look of that as well. And I just feel like cordyline Hawaiian tea plants are plants that you really can't grow indoors long term. I don't think it's sustainable, because for some reason, whenever you try to grow a plant like this indoors, it ends up getting spider mites, even if you are trying to spray it down with neem oil. I just feel like this plant is really meant to just grow outdoors. If you provide it with quite a bit of light, it's going to give you better coloration. I remember seeing a bunch of those as well in the Philippines. And you can see we've got some cone flowers, and I'm just going to walk around here and show you the beautiful mums. You know that it is full fall season. We are in full effect, even though it is still very hot in North Dallas. I'm hoping that the temperatures will decrease to like 80 degrees or mid 80s. Right now we're still sitting at high 90s, and I'm ready for the fall season to start. Speaking of fall season plant foldies, not only will I be doing big box or plant shopping videos, if you like Japanese maples, I will be featuring Japanese maples, because you already know Acer palmatum or Japanese maples will give you that that fall look. And then I did want to go pan over here and show you these plants. So I've left Lowe's and ended up going to Sprouts grocery store in McKinney, Texas, and I wanted to show you all of these cool looking planters by Live Trends. So they've got the Day of the Dead type planters, super cool. You can see that this is a Haworthia. We've got some air plants. Like look at this little air plant right here. You can see that they've got a witch or some type of pumpkin, and these are all for $10. I love shopping at Sprouts grocery store because sometimes you will find the plants on liquidation clearance. I've been able to buy plants here for like 99 cents, and I'm going to see what plants that they have available. But you can see here, look at this. This is such a cool Day of the Dead display. This one is a cat, and the plant on top of it is an air plant right there. Again, this is for $10. I love Live Trends plants because they always come with like seasonally relevant planters. And look at this, that's a cool Day of the Dead a planter for a dog. You can see that there is an air plant here. Now for air plants, you just want to make sure if you want to water an air plant is to take the plant, submerge it in water, and then take it out and let it dry out completely, and it will thrive for you. Here I did want to highlight these beautiful different versions of peperomia. So I don't know this particular peperomia plant ID, but what I do know is it is for a 6-inch planter for $19.99. I do like that it's got a nice foliage. That green is really a very striking color. And then we have right here a peperomia frost. I really love the gray tone on it. I just want to make sure I don't like break any limbs or anything. But this one is also for $19.99, and that's the thing about going to multiple stores to go plant shopping. You really don't go into a grocery store with the intent of just buying plants. But now I go into grocery stores with the priority of buying plants and then maybe picking up grocery stores. So it's kind of changed the reverse effect for me. And you can see over here, here's a beautiful peperomia Ginny. Beautiful plant. I love the pink borders that this peperomia has. And then we're going to take a look at some of the other peperomias. I would love to be able to collect them all. And this is a prime example of how you can find one family genus of plants and want to collect them all. This one is a peperomia russo for $19.99. Again, so we have about like 6 or 7 varieties of peperomia that you can purchase. All of these are 6-inch planters. This is a peperomia raisinette. It does look like raisins, which I find interesting. Look at the dark foliage. I think if I had to pick one peperomia to buy, I would definitely take this one first. This would be my first choice, and then the green foliage peperomia would be my second choice, and then maybe the peperomia Ginny. Here is another peperomia right here. So you can see that there are slight variations. So this one is more of a gray tone compared to the peperomia raisinette. I don't know what the plant ID is for this peperomia. Now, peperomias in general are typically easy to care for plants. The one I'm about to pick up is a peperomia variegata or obtusifolia. So it's a variegated peperomia obtusifolia. Really like the look of this one as well. And this one, if you give it more light, it is definitely going to push out more variegation. So this particular plant, the lighting conditions is what really influences the variegation. And honestly, if you're going to ask me if I would prefer a plant that has the initial genetics as being the indicator for variegation or the lighting conditions, I would go more so with the lighting conditions, because I feel like you have more control on the variegation of the plant by just increasing or decreasing the light. And then over here for $12.99 is a Ficus elastica shivriana. This is another ficus plant that for the longest time, about 3 to 4 years ago, was super expensive and now is readily available. And then this is a Ficus Audrey right here. I love the velvety texture of this plant. I was able to get one for a really good price, a tree form at Costco. So I was super excited about that. And then again, plant foldies, we are looking at some more of these peperomias. Really like the look of this one as well. And again, I'm going to wait to see if Sprouts grocery store will actually reduce the prices from $19.99 to a more sale price. So I'm going to do another update eventually, maybe in about a week or 2. I know that they typically put these plants on sale. Again, I've been able to find plants for like $2.99. So we're going to see what these plants will be like in terms of the plant pricing in a week or 2. I mean, this is a Sprouts grocery store that I'm very close to in proximity. So I can definitely check on this to monitor the prices. But as far as a peperomia, if you want to start a peperomia collection, you need to go to Sprouts. And then the last location, we are going to the Kroger grocery store. So we're going to be grocery store plant shopping at Kroger Marketplace in Frisco, Texas. This one is off of Custer Road in El Dorado. So if you want to go to this one, this is the one Kroger that is literally across the street from the H-E-B grocery store in McKinney, Texas. You already know I love going to this particular grocery store. This one is also in close proximity to where I am based at. And as you can see right here, Kroger is already selling classic mums or chrysanthemums for $9.99. And these are actually large size mums. And we're going to walk over here, and I love going into this particular grocery store late at night because there's not as many people walking around. You can see that they always have these seasonally relevant statement displays. I love the fact that it is almost the first week of October, and they have some gorgeous croton mame. And as far as plant pricing, Kroger typically has some of the best plant pricing, especially when it comes to the seasonal plants like this. Like, I am tempted to purchase a croton mame because it is already a fairly established plant. Look at the beautiful colors of it. And then you can also see they have this Stramanthe Triostar, and it's a pretty thick Stramanthe Triostar. Let's see, it's in a 10-inch planter, which is a really good deal. I think this is for $18.98, somewhere around that range. But for a 10-inch planter, that is not bad. It's actually $18.99. So that is a really good price. Typically, that's in the $20 to $25 range at other big box stores. We're just going to walk around here and see if they have any other plants. Notice that they have a cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. They've got a croton petra. They've got a spider plant as well over here. That's really interesting that spider plant is in a 10-inch planter. Really like the look of that. And then we also have some more croton mames. Like, I'm going to see about possibly buying these if they are still readily available when I come visit this location. You know, it is late at night, and again, Plant Foldies, I try my very best to get you that daily plant content. If you just want to watch my videos because you want to see some plants, or if you want to hear me just ramble on about plant care tips or just plant insights, this is definitely the channel for you. And I still wanted to take the time again to thank all of my Plant Foldies that continue to go on the live premiere chat. So if you actually catch a live premiere, typically they happen around 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, sometimes 8, maybe even as late as 9. And that's the reason why, if you are going to be subscribed to the channel, I would highly recommend clicking the notification bell on. So every time I upload a new video, I do a post on the community tab for my YouTube channel, you are instantly notified because it's so much fun to actually chat with y'all. And that's the reason why I always look forward to even just having daily plant content, because most YouTube channels, I don't know if they necessarily have a live premiere chat, but this has become a staple for this channel. And another thing that has become a staple for a lot of these grocery stores are classic mums or chrysanthemums. This particular Kroger, though, I have to give them credit. The staff is always coming out with beautiful seasonal displays. Like, you can see how full all of these mums are. Now, here's the thing about buying mums, and all of these are $9.99. I would say they've got the most cost-effective mums. If you want to have mums last a little bit longer, you see how all of these mums are in full bloom. These will probably only last for a good 2 weeks or so, and then the blooms will go away. Here's the thing about mums. You can actually plant mums in a landscape. You can put them in a flower bed. These are considered what you call perennials. So as far as this particular plant, say all of the blooms die, say the plant actually dies in the winter, it will typically grow back in the spring or early summer. So this is a plant that, you can pretty much count on year after year. I've actually seen mums come back from, dead planters. Like, say you grew a mum in a planter in its original planter and it dies back. If you just cut it back, it will typically make it a recovery and come back. So I love perennial plants. So for those that are not really into outdoor gardening or just gardening, that is a term where, depending on your grow zone, you can actually expect the plant to come back every season. And, speaking of seasonal plants, $18.99, look at how beautiful this croton mame is. This one has more of the darker foliage that I like. Typically, I like the darker foliage on the bottom of the croton, and if it's able to do a gradation of red to yellow to orange, I think that would be awesome. But I love all of these mums right over here. You can see they've got different colors. And the thing about mums, you want to make sure that their soil doesn't dry out completely. They are a pretty thirsty plant. If you're gonna, have these indoors, you want to provide bright indirect light. Typically, mums make good patio plants. So that is the reason why a lot of these big box stores and a lot of grocery stores carry mums. I am curious for those that are watching, and I hope that when I do make those requests for people to leave comments in the comment section, that you would engage with me. But I am curious if you actually grow mums just for the season, for the fall season. I would really like to know. I'm curious about that, and it's something that I'm gonna consider growing, because I may want to just grow mums in my landscape eventually. And then you can't go into a grocery store, especially Kroger, and not take a look at these Phalaenopsis orchids. Notice how beautiful these Phalaenopsis orchids are. And what's interesting is, compared to, say, a big box store, some big box stores will sell Phalaenopsis orchids when they're not in bloom. I have never seen a grocery store, specifically Kroger grocery store, sell plants that are not in full bloom as far as a Phalaenopsis orchid. So what I find interesting is Phalaenopsis orchids are literally available every month, year round, any season. Whether it's in the deep winter where everything is cold, you will still see Phalaenopsis orchids. And I just am curious what that production looks like for Phalaenopsis orchids. Like, how quickly do they propagate? If anybody can give me insights. Now, as far as a Phalaenopsis orchid, people have asked how long the blooms last. They typically last for about a month if you give them good care. And what I mean by good care is, make sure you're not over-watering them. Make sure that they are in a substrate like orchid bark. You can fertilize them with a high phosphorus fertilizer. Phosphorus fertilizer tends to increase or actually encourage more blooms. Now, bright indirect light is best again for Phalaenopsis orchids. They like to be more so on the drier side. If you are able to provide them a little bit more humidity, they are going to thrive. I wouldn't recommend repotting a Phalaenopsis orchid. So say you buy this beautiful Phalaenopsis orchid, love that pastel yellow. I wouldn't repot it. I would wait till the blooms are completely gone and then repot it. Some people, they kind of get rid of their Phalaenopsis orchid, so they just literally let it grow, and then they end up either giving them away or composting them. It does take a while for a Phalaenopsis orchid to rebloom, but if you're able to get them to rebloom, that is definitely a plus. As compared to maybe, say, an African violet. Like, I have gotten an African violet and it has rebloomed for me 3 times this year. So those are a little bit easier to get to bloom. Now, plant foldies, I did want to go explore Kroger, because Kroger has been known to have like seasons of different types of, or it's not seasons, cycles of different types of rare and uncommon plants. So we're going to see if we can find some today. You can see right here, Hedera helix. This one is a variegated English ivy, or the Hedera helix English ivy. This one, it has some beautiful variegation, and it's only for $6.99. That is not a bad price at all for a 4.5 inch planter. And that is the reason why I say, again, in terms of cost effective pricing, Kroger grocery store has them, has a lot of big box stores beat. Like this one right here is a Sansevieria, for instance, $6.99. And Sansevieria are marketed as easy to care for plants. I do think they're easy to care for. The only thing about it is you don't not want to water it. Like, you can get away without watering Sansevieria or snake plants, but if you don't water them for a long time, they end up what you call having dry rot, where their actual roots end up rotting because it's super dry. And then over here we have an Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. I love my pothos plants ever since I've seen how Japanese pothos or pothos cultivars are actually cultivated, and that's through just mutations. I've been paying attention to some of my pothos plants to see if some of the variegation may have changed. Maybe the shape of the leaf might be a little bit narrow, and then just having selective propagation to see if that same genetic or that same plant trait continues off with the offspring. So that's something I'm looking at. We'll see if I might be able to find a discovery, but just hearing how certain cultivars of plants are discovered, and that's through selective propagation, is really cool. This one again is an example of an easy to care for plant that is a Peperomia obtusifolia marble. And then we have a Pilea plant. This Pilea plant is known as the aluminum plant. This one is for $6.99, and if I'm ever gonna buy an aluminum plant, I'm definitely gonna buy it at Kroger grocery store. The thing about it is, Kroger grocery store treats their plants as if they were fresh produce. So whenever you go to like a grocery store, you will be almost guaranteed that these plants are going to be in optimal condition. They're going to be healthy. They're going to be fresh, because grocery stores treat their plants as if it was fresh produce. So obviously, if you have a bunch of apples or oranges and they're not fresh, they're going to cull through, maybe even clearance them out to just get them to move. It's the same thing with plants. And sometimes I would get lucky to go to like Kroger grocery store and find it in the clearance section where things could be reduced to as low as $1. And so I don't always go into a Kroger grocery store or even grocery stores in general with the intent to purchase a plant full price. Sometimes, exercising a little bit of patience, maybe even just being lucky, you'll be able to find a plant that is really cost effective and really good value. And as I continue to make these plant shopping videos, I will be talking more about how plants could, either be within your budget or really mess up your budget. I would tell you, going to PlantCon 2024 in Dallas, I definitely overspent my budget by quite a bit. Probably somebody's mortgage payment, for instance. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a hint on that. Do I regret it? No, because a lot of the plants do bring me joy. But that is an example where you have to really find the reason why you're buying the plants. I do urge people, and I probably need to listen to my own, my own plant tips, whether it's care tips or even budgeting tips. If you know that that plant is probably going to be a plant you will find again, say at a big box store, and you don't necessarily need the plant, I would hold off from the plant for two reasons. Number one, for instance, is Epipremnum pinnatum Cebu Blue Pothos. It's readily available, but sometimes you just want to buy a plant, but then you have to think, how much have you already spent on your plants for the month? And then also number two, do you have enough plants in your collection? Because I can almost guarantee the majority of our plant foldies probably have quite a bit of plants. Somebody asked me, because I'm supposed to be working on my houseplant tour. I promise y'all I am working on it. It's just a matter of getting my plants organized and really taking the time to edit it. I don't want to just do a pan and shoot voiceover. I really want to have some good editing for my houseplant tour. But to go back to it, I have more than 100 plants. I haven't really counted, but I have quite a bit of plants. I already know that having more than 100 plants is quite a bit of plants to begin with. And then on top of that, I am constantly propagating plants. I would say I take after my grandmother in the sense that we will just propagate the same plant over and over and over and then kind of hoard it. I don't know if it's just one of those things where we just do that as a family, but I do think that I take after my grandmother for that. But in terms of just the amount of plants, I think, going to the grocery store like this, for instance, I do want to buy this one, or I'm really debating on whether I should buy this peperomia camouflage, because I ended up sending my first one that I got on clearance at Kroger to Plant Heaven. And that's not because it was a hard plant. Peperonia plants are pretty easy plants. It's just I happen to keep it in a very hot garage in the middle of summer where, Texas weather in general is over 100 degrees, but then think of a garage and how much hotter it's going to be under a grow light. It was just really not a good situation for the plant. And that's the reason why, as much as I love plants, I have to talk to myself and just really find some restraint on purchasing certain plants. Like for instance, I would love to just buy a bunch of bromeliads like this, especially the ones with the, really bright pink coloration. I love pink plants. I'm pretty sure a lot of our viewers that watch the channel also love pink plants, but it is a matter of having a very intentional, stress-free plant collection. And I am watching more plant content creators, where they are talking about downsizing their plant collection. I'm not really downsizing my plant collection, but I am, as I show you guys all of these beautiful plants, just being mindful about certain plants that I want in my collection. I know my previous video, I did buy 3 large calatheas, the 10-inch planter calatheas, and because they were for $18 and some change. And to me, that's a really good value for that plant, because it takes a while for a calathea to grow that size. So I'm willing to take the risk of potentially losing money if the plant does not, do well in my care. hopefully I'm able to overcome the challenges of growing calatheas. I'm definitely going to keep you posted. And that brings me to another thing. Plant foldies, I want to be able to do plant updates on my plants. I've been watching other YouTubers, and as I become more comfortable sharing my personal life, my personal plant collection to the YouTube world, you're going to see more of that. But to go back to all of the Kroger plants, you can see that they have quite a bit of plants to pick from. The majority of these plants, and you can see right here, look at that interesting variegation on the golden pothos. Like that one has more of like a speckling color. These plants are mostly sourced out from a nursery called Mason Farms, which is a plant nursery out in New Mexico, and they actually source out to a lot of grocery stores. I find that interesting, and sometimes Mason Farm plants will actually make it into a big box store like Lowe's, Walmart, or Home Depot, but typically Mason Farm plants will usually be found at grocery stores. But this right here, this golden pothos, I would want to try to propagate that one particular node where it has that really nice variegation to see if it would actually continue to have that variegation. And then over here, this is a China doll plant. This is an example of a plant that I thought I could grow, but this is a plant that does not belong in my plant collection. Not because it's not beautiful, it's just because my daily habits of watering plants, this plant is a very thirsty plant. So literally you're gonna have to water it every day, every other day, maybe if you're gonna stretch it 3 days, but you definitely don't wanna not water this plant in over a week. When it dries, it swell out completely. The leaves start to get very frail, and then it starts to crisp up. And once they start to crisp up, they really don't recover well. And that's what happened with my China doll plant. I am, disappointed because it is such a pretty plant. I love how shiny it is. I also like the texture of the leaves, how very dainty and demure, if anybody wants to start using that word again. I find it interesting that, some words have become more of an urban term, but, that's just kind of following the trends. And then speaking of trends, Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf tree, that is still going to be a plant that is often seen for like very stylish interior design, especially the large ones. I do love the fact that this particular one has some shiny leaves. My Ficus lyrata that I bought at Sprouts, the one that I just showed you for 99 cents, it's doing well. The leaves have gotten larger. It is a little bit slower growing for me in my space because it is growing indoors. It does face an east facing window, so it doesn't get nearly as much intense light, but it still has done well for me. It hasn't really declined in its health, but the Ficus lyrata is not growing as quick as I would like. Now, this is what I came here for. Somebody told me, I think it was Daniel S., one of my awesome plant foldies that I met at PlantCon. He said that he saw some Homolemena camouflage, and these are for $29.99. So these look almost similar to a Homolemena Shelby, but look at how gorgeous the leaves are. It is green. It looks like for real like camouflage, and it is stunning. This is for $29.99. And the thing about it is, this plant is a nice size plant, but for $29.99, I feel like it's still quite pricey. And the reason why I say this is because I went to Peta's Planters, which is one of my favorite plant shops in all of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And they were selling Homolemena for a larger size for a more cost-effective price. But, for those that don't have local plant shops like Peta's Planters, for instance, going to a Kroger grocery store or maybe a grocery store that's similar to Kroger, you may run into a Homolemena camouflage. Here's the thing about Homolemena camouflage. This Homolemena is a little bit more challenging to grow. Since it has that velvety texture, it's kind of similar to a Homolemena Shelby. You definitely want to make sure you stay on top of the watering, meaning you want to make sure that you're watering the plant when it is about 50% dry. You don't want it to dry up completely, or at least that's what I've been told. As far as humidity, if you're able to provide it with higher humidity, it's going to do better because, again, if you touch the leaves are going to be a leathery, velvety texture, and plants that have that velvety leather texture, for some reason, loves to attract spider mites. So if you put this in a more dry environment, it's not necessarily going to do well. I feel like the edges of the leaves will also get brown and crispy, but if you're able to give it the right conditions, how fabulous do you think these leaves are going to grow for you? I mean, look at how stunning it is. I'm actually really tempted, or was really tempted, to purchase a Homolemena camouflage. Part of me wants to wait it out and see if this Kroger will actually reduce the price. I saw a bunch of philodendron, some rare philodendron actually go on clearance when it didn't sell through. I would say Kroger had the best plant pricing when they were selling a bunch of Monstera Thai Constellation. And then the philodendron Florida Ghosts that I purchased, the two of Florida Ghosts I purchased, have really established. I repotted them in a 6-inch planter, and when I say the initial genetics of the philodendron Ghosts that I have were just pristine, the leaves really come out pure white and then harden and become more of a minty tone. It does not burn under my grow light, and I'm just really happy that I invested in an uncommon plant like that. And I bought it at this grocery store called Kroger, this particular one actually. And this is the reason why I'm super excited, because this Kroger grocery store is so close in proximity to where I'm based at that I'm constantly seeing if they have another set of plants that they're gonna grow. This right here is just, there was a lot of Homolamena camouflage. I did see this also at Costco when they did the 2-pack special, and so I just regret not purchasing it. Now the ones I saw at Costco were super dehydrated and wilting, but these ones are still fairly perfect plants, or at least in my opinion they look really nice. And just look at the camouflage, they almost remind me of an Aglaonema leaf. This is more of a Homolamena. Now as far as Homolamena, I prefer the whole Homolamena rubescens, I think that's what you call, like there's one Homolamena I want to buy. It's called the Homolamena Pink Diamond Variegated. That would be awesome. It's just super pricey, but this goes to show you, plant foldies, that as we get more plants readily available, and that's maybe because more people are propagating them, the rise of tissue culture plants, we're able to get these plants at a more cost-effective price. And speaking of plants and cost-effective pricing, $9.99, and you can find this small variegated Phalaenopsis orchid. That's another plant that, you know, if you're ever looking for variegated orchid, go to Kroger, because I've been able to find them in this size. Now I have a larger size version. Mine is currently not in bloom, but I'm hoping that within, you know, a couple of months it may rebloom again. Super excited. It's a beautiful plant, and while it's not in bloom, getting the variegated version of a Phalaenopsis orchid, there is some more leaf interest that makes it interesting. So it's not just a green, you know, plant. There's nothing wrong with green plants, but I'm just glad that I'm able to maintain a variegated Phalaenopsis orchid. But as you can see here, plant foldies, all of these plants at Kroger grocery store while night shopping, super peaceful, and it's always going to be in the floral section. Again, this particular Kroger grocery store, if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, specifically in McKinney, Frisco, definitely check this out. If you like this video, please hit the like button for me, and then also subscribe to my YouTube channel at Grow Folds. I will see you with a new video tomorrow. Bye. Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at Home Depot out in North McKinney, Texas. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video, as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. That's the fastest way to get in touch with me directly. And if you like daily 1-hour plant shopping videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel with the notification bell on, so you are always up to date with all of my live premieres and video posts. But as you can see, it is a beautiful morning, Thursday morning, when I actually filmed this, and you can see that we've got some beautiful plants right here at Home Depot. I noticed that the Altman plants, I guess staff was actually out restocking the plants at this Home Depot. So that's super exciting. But you can see all of the beautiful crotons in all of the fall colors that you are seeing at a lot of these big box stores and local nurseries. This particular Home Depot I haven't been to in quite a while, and I have not seen these alocasias. This Alocasia lutea, it's an Alocasia hybrid. You can see that it is massive, and you can look at the veining on the leaves. Look at that. It's such a beautiful golden yellow color, and even the stems are all golden yellow. I really like that a lot. And let's see how much it costs. $59.98. This is a massive Alocasia, or what you call an elephant ear. I would think that this particular Alocasia could be a perennial in my grow zone, which is 8B, North Dallas. So, you know, this would be something that you could actually grow out in the landscape. And what's really interesting is just how the size of this particular alocasia is, but I really love the yellow or that golden yellow stem. I haven't seen that in an alocasia, and you can see this one right here is actually pushing out a new leaf. That's really interesting how it is literally just ripping through that stem, and there's going to be a new leaf that unfurls. I would love to get something this size, but unfortunately indoors, it would be almost a nightmare to try to keep this plant alive. And as far as just the season, it's a little late to actually grow this particular alocasia into the ground. But, you know, that's something that I might consider growing next year. And then we're going to go pan over a bunch of crotons. And I know plant foldies that you've seen quite a bit of crotons. I'm pretty sure some of you guys might actually be tired of looking at crotons, but I love crotons, and it's just so interesting that in the fall season we see crotons and mums. Crotons and mums is what you will see during the fall season. You can see that we've got a bunch of croton petras there, and then we also have some croton mame. Now, I might actually grow some croton mames right over here. Look at how cute these are, and I just love the colors. Like, I know that some people find crotons not as pretty, or just not really a plant they want to grow, but for me, I absolutely love it. I mean, you can see right here, this is by Nature's Way. So you've got a bunch of crotons plus a cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. I think it's the kiwi version, but they also call it harlequin. And then we also have an Asiatic jasmine that has that orange variegation. I really want to know what that particular particular Asiatic jasmine is, because it's got some really cool variegation. Part of me wants to just buy this particular container, not really for the croton or the cordyline plant, but for that particular Asiatic jasmine. I think it's a really nice one. And then you can see it's only for $39.98, which I think for this particular planter, it does make sense, because all three plants can take a lot of light, especially the croton, and it's just got some really nice colors. So, you know, as far as the fall color arrangement, this instant patio planter, I would recommend purchasing it if you just want an instant gratification plant. Now, as far as the cordyline Hawaiian tea plant, as well as the croton plant, that is a plant I wouldn't really recommend growing indoors. You know, I've mentioned this in a lot of my videos, but cordyline Hawaiian tea plant is very much spider mite prone when you grow it indoors. And then if you have a croton plant, it just wants to be outdoors. It really needs that light. It really needs that humidity. But as you can see, as I pan around here, this is a very full Home Depot, and so we're going to see what kind of plants we find today. You can see this is a philodendron sun red, and I was really tempted to purchase this because the plants for proven winners are 50% off. So this would only be $9.98, somewhere around that range. You can see that that is a beautiful new leaf that's unfurling. I do want to get more philodendron, because philodendron are very easy to care for plants. They are, for the most part, not finicky in terms of like maybe even the watering, that you can get away with them fully drying out and not having to worry about them like drooping down and dying. This one right here is a Tradescanthia feeling flirty. So I ended up purchasing this particular Tradescanthia, and you'll see in the later part of the video, because I am visiting two Home Depot locations. So definitely check out both sections. I decided that I would combine two plant shopping videos that I filmed this week to one video. So we'll definitely see that. But as you can see, plant foldies, Hoya carnosas. I love visiting Home Depots because they typically have, you know, while they have the same plants, they have a lot of plants to choose from. And that's the thing about Home Depots, is it is pretty consistent about the plants that they source out. A lot of proven winter plants, a lot of succulents and cactus, which we will really go into detail today. So if you are a succulent or cactus lover, today is an exciting video, because I will be showing you a lot of the cactus and succulents. Now, as far as all of the big box stores we visited recently, I would say that Costa Farms is definitely releasing a lot of new trending tropical plant releases, like the Geo plants. And then as far as the plants that we're just seeing, again, it's just a bunch of crotons and chrysanthemums, or what you call mums. But you can see they do have these proven winter plants for 50% off, so they're $9.99. And I'm just going to pan around here and just show you the beautiful crotons again that they have. Now, as far as proven winter plants, you can see they've got many varieties. I'm going to pull this out because I will end up buying one of these today. This is a Feeling Flirty Tradescanthia. Now, with Tradescanthias, again, they are very much an easy plant to take care of. The only problem I have with them is that they are plants that get very leggy very quickly, so you want to cut them back. The only Tradescanthia I say that really doesn't get leggy would be a Tradescanthia Nanook, but even then those can get leggy, but for some reason they're not as delicate as some other Tradescanthias, so you want to take a look at that. Now, as far as the Ficus elastica, that one is a Ficus elastica Ruby. We also have a Ficus elastica Taniki. Those are all for $9.99, and we're going to keep looking at all the other plants that they have over here, so you can see I'm almost tempted to buy this for $9.99 because it is a good starter plant. I feel like you could grow this into a really large plant. Now, where I'm from, which is the Philippines, I vacationed out there in August. For those that are actually just discovering my channel, you could see Ficus elastica or rubber tree plants to be full-blown trees, 20 to 30 feet tall, and they are growing out in full sun. But as you can see in the other side of the world, on the western side of the world, these are plants that you really can't grow outdoors like that long term because we get cold winters. It's the same thing with the croton plants. So I've noticed that croton plants, especially even in the Caribbean, even though they are not native to the Caribbean, they also are grown in landscapes as like a tropical shrub. Now, over here for $19.98, we've got another Calathea right here. This is one that I ended up buying at Home Depot, at another Home Depot, for a larger size. I got it for $18.88. It's a beautiful plant. It is a plant. I would say Calatheas are very challenging to grow. And not only did I buy one, but I ended up buying three that same day just because the price was right. $18.88 was a huge sale for the size that it was at, because it was actually larger than that Calathea. And then I ended up thinking about getting one of these right here. So this is actually on sale. Normally it's for $29.98. It is for $14.98. Beautiful Ficus elastica burgundy. And yes, it is a common rubber tree plant that you would find, but I love it. I love the structure of it. I love the texture of the leaves. It does feel very rubbery, and it is a pretty durable plant. I also love the fact that it has a red vein underneath the plant. There's just very small nuances that I appreciate about this plant, and that's the thing about growing plants, plant foldies. It is all about looking at the very minute details. Sometimes those minute details are what bring you joy, and that's the reason why I would ask plant foldies, what are plants that you've seen that I've featured at big box stores that you ended up buying, and can you tell me like specifically what details of the plant that you like? Leave that in the comments. I really love that engagement in the comments, and for those that really leave a lot of comments in the comment section, thank you so much, Tree. Thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you so much, Alice. Really appreciate that. I love that you guys take the time to leave comments in the comment section, because I will literally respond to every single comment. And plant foldies, if you haven't already and you made it this far into the video, first of all, thank you for that watching all the way through so far. And then also, please make sure you are hitting that like button. I mentioned this in every single video, and I do mention it multiple times in the video, but hitting the like button for this video will definitely help push this video to more plant lovers like yourself. Our community is really growing at a pretty fast pace, and that's due to the fact that you guys are engaging with me and also just doing that simple task of helping me out by hitting the like button. So if you can, definitely do that. And then as you can see right here, plant foldies, it is also well to note that whenever I do plant shopping videos, I actually prefer filming in the morning, because you can see how gorgeous the lighting is for the plants. The sun isn't as intense, and I did want to feature just a couple of flowering plants today as well. You can see right here, this is a black eyed Susan. Look at that. That's really interesting of a plant. It almost looks like a sunflower, but it is not. And obviously this plant right here, especially with a lot of blooming plants, they're going to need a lot of light. Full sun is what this particular plant wants, but as I pan around here, it's always nice that Altman's staff, the nursery, actually has restocked all of these big box stores. Like, take a look at this flowering plant right here. Let's take a look. $10.98. This is another cone flower, or what you call it, echinacea. So echinacea is actually an herb that helps with boosting the immune system. I do love the fact that the flowers are really nice as well. The cone flowers come in many different varieties. This one is more of like a peach orange tone, right next to that other black-eyed Susan flower. So really nice flowers. That's one thing I didn't really touch base this year is my flower garden. I had a bunch of zinnias that I grew out in my backyard. So next year, whenever I do have my outdoor space, my garden, I want to feature that as well, because not only do I like indoor tropical plants, I also like outdoor plants. I love bonsai, for instance. There's just other varieties of plants outside of the aeroids and tropical plants that I typically feature in my videos. Now, this one right here, these coral bells, I have seen this quite a bit as well. Now, all of these are plants by Vigoro Plants, but you can see that has that nice crimson red color. And as I pan away, look at how beautiful that is. And here we go again. We've got these gorgeous 10-inch planters of calatheas right here, and they are on sale for $18.88. They're normally $24.48. The price of these calatheas, absolutely amazing, because you typically don't see calatheas being sold this price. Look at this calathea dotty, so beautiful. I love that dark foliage. I ended up making what I would consider a bad decision by buying 3 of these calatheas. I ended up buying this one, the calathea dotty, and then the calathea pink star. I just thought that I just couldn't get away from the price. The price was really nice. So far in my care, they have been doing very well. I water them every other day, and then also spray them with neem oil at least once a week, and they've been doing okay. I'm trying to repel any potential spider mites, and I do have my calatheas in my plant room where it gets up to 70% humidity with my humidifier, so I feel like that's going to give them more optimal environments. Now, I am curious to see if you guys think I should also get the Calathea macuyana and also the Calathea lancifolia. Those are the 2 that I haven't gotten in that size, because look at this. This is the Calathea lancifolia, or what you call the rattlesnake Calathea. Really like the look of this one as well. I love just the patterns on this Calathea, and this again is on sale for $18.88. So with big box stores, and this is the reason why I love making big box or plant shopping videos for you guys, is the plant finds that I can find. Sometimes I find that hit the jackpot and get a really nice plant for a really good price. Like, look at the undersides of this Calathea lancifolia. Beautiful plant, but I am not going to buy that today, as well as the Calathea macuyana, just because I want to see if I'm able to grow those 3 calatheas long term. I'm really trying hard not to send calatheas to plant heaven. And then over here, we've got another cordyline plant, but this one is just a green version of this cordyline plant. This is for $19.84, 10-inch planter. And with cordyline plants, I would love to be able to grow them indoors, but I just wouldn't recommend growing cordylines indoors because they are very much spider mite prone. I mentioned that in all my videos. I like to show cordyline plants, but in terms of just the humidity levels that they need to repel spider mites, I just would I guess recommend growing those plants outdoors. Same thing with these bird of paradise. Like, they're beautiful, but they do take up quite a bit of space, and they really need a lot of light. Now, this is the parrot flower for $19.98. You can see that it is a beautiful tropical plant, and you can see that it is actually in bloom. Look at those orange blooms. Really like the look of that as well. And whenever you go to like Home Depot, I would say that Home Depot is probably the one big box store that has the most large foliage plants. I really like the look of these plants. Like, you can see right here, this is a ficus lyrata. Really like the look of that as well. And then we have a bunch of majesty palms. Now, here's the thing about majesty palms. They are readily available at a lot of big box stores, and this one is for $22.98. But I really don't see the appeal, at least for my personal plant collection, so that's why I don't really have palms. And then you can see that this particular Home Depot, I wanted to highlight the fact that they have really good organization and merchandising for their plants. You can see there are a bunch of Epipremnum aureum neon pothos, and then we've got some more majesty palms right here. I would say the organization, the merchandising of a particular big box store really influences on whether I will do impulse buys or buys that I don't necessarily plan on doing, but since they just look so appealing, I end up just purchasing plants. Like all of these beautiful Monstera deliciosas as well. Gorgeous looking plant. Love how it's just a green plant, but I feel like Monstera deliciosas are always going to be a classic house plant. It is a plant though that you have to plan for the future in terms of how much space it's going to take up, because they can get very massive. I do like the look of Monstera deliciosas, even though they are just a green form. I know there's a lot of variegated monsteras, like the Monstera Thai Constellation, Monstera Thai Constellation mutations, Monstera albo, Monstera aurea, but I would say the green form is still going to be the most healthy, vigorous form, and it's the one that I feel like we should still put in our plant collections. Over here is another Hawaiian tea plant right here for $19.98. And you can see it's got more of that dark burgundy color. And when you put it right next to the Calathea lancifolia, I feel like they complement each other in terms of the color combination. So I really love that as well. And you can see that this one right here is a little bit leggy, but you know, with cordyline tea plants, as they get more mature, they start to lose the bottom of the leaves and they end up getting more of like a woody trunk. So that's just natural for it. And then you can see here, this one is for $29.98. This is a ZZ plant. And this is a really nice size ZZ plant. If you're going to ask me what the easiest house plant to grow indoors would be, it would definitely be the ZZ plant. It is very much drought tolerant. It can tolerate lower light conditions, and it's just an easy to care for plant. People might find this a very basic plant, but I say this in all my videos every single day. No matter how basic a plant is, if that plant has easy care tips or easy care requirements, I would say that is a plant you need to add into your collection. Even if we have some of these, you know, plant lovers that have very rare philodendrons or aroids that cost hundreds, thousands of dollars, I would recommend a ZZ plant. I would recommend Aglaonemas. I would recommend pothos plants. I would even recommend Monstera deliciosa. Like monsteras in general are fairly easy, but as you can see right here, what a beautiful morning. What a beautiful morning to go plant shopping. For me, doing these plant shopping videos, it's super therapeutic. I'm actually filming this as I head off to work, before I head off to work. So, you know, it's a good way to start my day, looking at beautiful foliage like this. Look at this Monstera deliciosa, for instance. These are by Nature's Way, and I have 3 Monstera deliciosas, just a green form, a bunch of Monstera Thai Constellations, and I just love the look of the leaves. And then here is a Dracaena Lemon Surprise for $19.98. Notice how the Dracaena can get large. If you want to get a large foliage plant like a Dracaena, I would spend that $19.98 because you don't have to wait very long to get a large foliage plant. And as I pan away here, it does feel like a jungle. You can see we've got some more Dracaenas. We've got this Dracaena right here. This is Dracaena Riki. So it's got more narrow leaves. It's got more of a green form about it. And again, this is another plant that I feel like a lot of people overlook, don't really pay attention to. It's an underrated plant, but it is a plant that plant foldies, I hope you can at least try growing one in your plant collection, see if it brings you joy. And now I'm going to pan over here and take a look at a lot of these succulents and cactus. So it looks like they have a pretty extensive form of succulents and cactus. Home Depot typically does, but I did want to take a little bit more time today to take a look at this. $9.98. We've got an Opuntia Emerald Wave. Now this is a common Opuntia that you would see. I don't know if it can actually grow in my grow zone 8B long-term in the ground, but as you can see, we've got a lot of those Opuntias. And then we also have another fall planter, mixed planter with a parrot flower, crotons, and then we also have some mixed planters of some succulents and cactus. So this one is a really nice looking one. This one is for $26.98 by Smart Plants. So Smart Plants exclusively I guess sources out a lot of the succulents and cactus. You can see that there's quite a bit of a nice arrangement. I do like the color combination. Now with succulents, again, I don't know a lot about succulents, but I am open to starting to like introduce it into my plant collection. I find them a very interesting form of plants because they come with so many different shapes, sizes, colors, textures, and varieties. I mean, you can see right here, this is the golden barrel cactus for $9.98. And this actual golden barrel barrel cactus can get very massive, very large in a pretty quick amount of time. And you can see over here we have some more succulents and cactus. So I'm just going to pan over and show you the plant IDs. This is an interesting Kalanchoe maternity plant, $9.98. What an interesting name for it. And then you can see right over here, this is just, it just has like a really interesting pattern on the plant. So really like that as well. And that's another plant that I might potentially add to my collection. You know, I like those grays. I like those dark foliage plants. And so plant foliage, I'm going to just keep showing you more succulents. And in plant foldies, you can see right over here, this is an interesting African golden candelabra, I think, or euphorbia. Look at this. It's a variegated euphorbia. I just want to take a little bit of time to show you how beautiful that green and yellow variegation is. What a beautiful plant. Now, I don't have a lot of euphorbias. I actually only have one, but look at this right here. I'm actually almost inspired to purchase this one, but this one's a little bit too large for my plant collection, just because I don't really have a lot of experience growing euphorbia. And here's the thing, whenever you run into plants that you're not really familiar with, I always mention to my plant foldies or anybody just getting into plants, do your research on plants first, really assess your living space, the amount of time you can invest into the plant. I feel like that's going to give you a higher success rate of actually letting the plant grow in your care versus sending it off to plant heaven. The amount of plants that I was like really inspired to purchase and then I didn't really do a lot of research has really led to a lot of my plants growing to plant heaven. So as much as I love how that particular euphorbia looks like, I definitely want to hold off on it. And you know, this particular Home Depot has quite a bit of beautiful you know, plants. These succulents look really immaculate. Like, look at this. And for those that love succulents and cactus, specifically to my loyal subscribers, Kathy from Canada, as well as Trish, I just thought of you ladies because I know that I have attempted to really show you guys a lot of these succulents and cactus, but I'm glad that I was able to capture a lot today, like this Peruvian apple cactus. Super cool looking cactus. I really like the form on it. And again, with all of these cactus and succulents, you really want to provide them with quite a bit of light, bright light. Some will need full sun to really thrive, but you can see that this particular Home Depot has quite a bit of different sizes. And then we're going to go pan around here and I'm going to show you some more cactus and succulents as well. There are a lot of varieties of succulents and cactus. You can see right here, this is another type of opuntia. I think this is opuntia Emerald Wave for $24.98. Really like the look of that. And then we also have the Altman Reserve cactus. So I will show you what we have right here. So this one is an aloe purple. Yeah, this one's an aloe purple something. I missed the plant ID, but what a cool looking one. And I love the fact that Altman planters have that AR etched into it. Really nice modern looking planter. These are not a bad price at all as well. These are for $19.98. You can see right over here we've got a euphorbia, you know, horrida. What a very spiky looking cactus right over here as well. Now, that's the only thing about cactus and succulents that you have to be really cautious about is how do you repot them? I guess most people use tongs. And then look at this little succulent arrangement on this little wine bottle or bottle. Really nice looking one. Now, I'm just curious where the drainage holes would be for that one, but that is a really nice looking arrangement. And I particularly like this one as well because you can see that we've got the Kalanchoe chocolate soldier. We've got another another one that is a variegated kalanchoe, and those are, you know, some of the plants I like. Kalanchoe, specifically the fuzzy brown one, and then also the variegated one right there with the pink outlining. Really nice looking succulent arrangement, and that's the thing, there's just a lot to learn as far as succulents. And then right here, this is the hen and chick succulent. So this one is for $6.98, and you can see that this one particularly has a lot of chicks. So this one self-propagates and pushes out a lot of babies. What you can do is separate the baby by just chopping it off, sticking it on the surface of a soil, and if you just mist it a little bit, it will propagate and root itself. What an easy plant to actually save. This definitely becomes more of like a succulent ground cover, and for $6.98, that is not a bad price at all. You can definitely share it. That one doesn't have a single baby on it at all, but you know, have no fear, that one will eventually push out some little chicks. And then I'm just going to keep showing you all of the different textures of all of these cactus right here. These ones are all for $6.98. Here we have a beautiful string of raindrops. Really like the look of that as well. It is another plant that I feel like I could add to my collection. I really do like the texture of it. So the only string of something I have is a variegated string of pearls. And then you can see this is another hanging basket of another succulent, a variegated succulent. I think that is the rainbow elephant bush. And then we just have more of these hanging baskets of these succulents right here. I think that is a string of bananas or string of hooks, but these are all by Smart Plants, again, that source out to Home Depot. And then we're gonna spin around here. And so I love the fact that Altman Reserve, that's the line of plants by Altman Plants that they have available. They have that there. And then I did want to take a look at some of these echeveria. So I'm going to show you the plant IDs for this. This one is the Arctic Ice. I do like the gray tone on this particular echeveria. Beautiful plant. I am tempted to purchase some succulents today, but you can see right here, this is another one, the Daisy Rose one. I do like the structures of them. They have a really nice bloom type structure, like a flower structure, and this is the one I actually am a fan of. This one I believe is the Echeveria Lola, so it's a hybrid, but I want to get, I think if I find a starter one like this, a smaller variety, I will probably buy it, because if you look at it, it really looks like a little beautiful flower. Really like the look of that. I also like the fact that it's got a pastel grayish green tone about it. And so I'm just going to keep showing you all of these different types of succulents and cactus. Again, we're going to go ahead and delve into some of these Altman Reserve cactus right here. Look at all of the different textures. And then this one right here is a euphorbia again. So hopefully my plant foldies that love cactus and succulents, please leave in the comments which ones that you have grown, which ones you like, which ones would you purchase at Home Depot. Like, I am looking at all these succulents and cactus, and I even like the planters that Altman Reserve has. I am really tempted to purchase one today, so I don't know, we'll see if I end up getting one. But you can see right here, this is the Delta Lightning aloe. That is such a cool looking aloe vera. Didn't realize that aloe vera has more interesting textures. I think of aloe vera as just kind of that medicinal aloe vera that you'll find at a grocery store that they would sell, but this one is the euphorbia that I actually have in my collection. I ended up getting it for a really good price, but look at how beautiful that is. I love that ghostly gray tone it has. And then you can see right here, this is a Euphorbia lactea variegata for $19.98. I would say that these cactus must have been like restocked by the Altman crew, because you can see there were a bunch of Altman plants working today as I was filming this video. So it looks like, they made their rounds to refill some of these big box stores. It's easy to say that, a lot of these are probably just recently restocked. Love the structure of that particular euphorbia as well. Now, with all of the euphorbias and aloe, you want to provide them with quite a bit of bright light, sometimes full sun. Just do your research. But I do like the Altman Reserve succulents and cactus. Really nice varieties that they have here. And as I pan away, they've got quite a bit of different types of succulents and cactus. Plant foliage, you can see here, they also have some succulent arrangements. This is for $13.48. I love that purple looking one as well. And that's the thing about succulents and cactus. Oftentimes, a lot of people don't really invest in the time to show them, but I wanted to make a video where I am appealing to multiple different types of families of plants. And, you know, succulents and cactus, while it's not my forte, I did want to just kind of you know, shed a little bit more light, get more exposure, get people excited, because looking at how beautiful these succulents and cactus, I definitely am going to be purchasing some today. Didn't really plan on doing it, but you know, plant foldies, like I said again, I'm willing to go ahead and become even more broke in my bank account because of all of these plant shopping videos. I don't mind it, but what a beautiful morning. Look at all of these plants, and I am very fortunate that all of the North Dallas locations and big box stores typically have a huge variety of plants to choose from. And yes, speaking of plants, I'm definitely going to buy this aloe vera right here. This is a variegated aloe vera for only $16.98. I'm definitely going to buy it because look at that. That is such a cool looking aloe vera. I do like the yellowish Oreo look about it, and that is not a bad price at all. That's a really nice looking plant. So we'll see what that looks like. But in terms of the care, I'm not so worried about killing, or not, I'd say, let's say better, we had sending this to plant heaven, because the price is not that bad. But who knows, maybe I'll be able to successfully grow this variegated aloe vera. You know, I thought about getting a variegated Sansevieria snake plant, the starfish version, but that one was a little bit more expensive. This kind of reminds me of like a starfish snake plant, so for, you know, half the cost. So I'm going to see, let me know what that looks like right now, but we will definitely see if that will grow in my care. I will definitely purchase that today. And then you can see that this is another blooming plant. I don't know the plant ID. And then I'm going to spin around here and show you guys even more cactus and succulents. So I'm super excited to show that this is the artichoke agave. I've seen this actually at Lowe's, but that is another one that it's commonly found. And then take a look at this plant foldies. What does this look like? I really like the look of this plant right here. Look at this. This is another type of agave. This is the agave threads. So it's got a really interesting texture about it. It's another plant that I would eventually want to add to my collection just because it's got a unique look. These are also sourced at by Smart Plants, and you can see in the background we've got some tropical plants, but a bunch of succulents and cactus. I would say that this Home Depot probably has a larger selection of succulents and cactus that I've seen typically from most Home Depot. So it's really nice that I can travel around the Dallas-Fort Worth area and really show you guys a lot of these plants. And I would say even the plant merchandising is amazing. And this, you know, this location is a good 15 minutes away from where I'm based at, so it's not that far. And they still have this on sale 2.5 inch starter planter, so it's 3 for $10. So usually they're now $3.33. So I'm gonna look at these. This one is a Echeveria Milagro. I think I'm going to end up purchasing this one because I do like the structure of that. I am going to go ahead and see which one I have, and I think I'm going to probably buy that. So I'm hoping that this is the Lola, but it says it's the Serpentina. They look very similar. Maybe it's a label, but that is another succulent I want to get. Now here's the thing about these Echeveria or these rosette succulents. If you're going to water them, if you're able to water them from the bottom, like bottom watering them, do that. Do not water them from the top, because if you let water sit on their leaves, they may potentially rot, and that is just, you know, a quick way to actually send them to plant heaven. It will also destroy the shape of the leaves. So you can see that these have some perfect looking shapes of the plant. Like I would love to just collect all of them, but only grow them in like a terracotta pot. Like look at this one right here. Let's take a look at this. This is another one that I'm considering getting. I'm probably going to buy 2, maybe 3, and see if I can do that. Now what I'll do is I'll actually repot these succulents and cactus in what I would call bonsai mix or soil mix, because I feel like they need fast draining soil, and it would just be a safer bet. You know, a rule of thumb is it's always better to grow these in let's see, this one. This is the Echeveria Lola. I may end up just getting that because what a beautiful plant. I really want to see it grow into that larger size. I just like the shape of it, and you can see right here, like they look very similar. I also am going to collect some more like succulents that have more of a pinkish tone about them. But I do like the grayish white tones, and you can see this one. This is the red kissed Echeveria. You can see that it has a more compact growth about it. And then you can see over here again, plant folies. Let's take a look. This one is the Arctic Ice one, very similar to the Lola. So plant folies, let me know if you would like to grow Echeveria. If you're growing Echeveria, I am going to have a collection of Echeveria, so you can already see that I'm going to have another plant obsession, and it's going to be that. And then you can see right here, this is another type of Echeveria. I thought it was more of like a Crusala or jade plant. Really like the sun stressing on that, but as I pan around here, I'm just going to keep picking up plants and showing you these plants and see what you think. Leave in the comments which ones that you would actually pick up. I really want to know your insights, again, plant foldies. And if you made it this far into the video, thank you. But also please make sure you are pushing that like button, hitting the like button for this video. The like button really helps push my videos out to more plant lovers like yourself. And I would really love for our community to grow. But you can see that these Echeveria are a little bit larger than the ones that are on sale. So I'm just going to start off with a smaller starter planter just because I'm not really versed in growing succulents. Again, that is not my forte, but it is one that I want to definitely start growing. And you can see these cactus are also for $3.33. That looks super cute. And that's the thing. I remember seeing a couple of Japanese plant collectors. Succulents and cactus are actually really a big deal in Japan and Korea. Not sure why, but there's a lot of a huge following for cactus and succulents. I would say maybe it's because it's not really endemic to those countries. Maybe there's a little bit more, an exotic appeal about them. But, as far as all of these succulents and cactus, like, I'm really happy that I ran into them. I'm definitely buying 2 of those succulents, the Lola and that other Echeveria, and I will get that variegated aloe. Plant folies, leave in the comments if you would also buy those plants that I'm picking up today. It's a nice little treat for me because the weekend is almost here, and I did want to tell our plant folies some really fun and exciting news. I was selected to be a plant influencer for the Texas Aeroid Show that is going to be on October 26th in Houston, Texas. I hope that you guys might be able to make a road trip out to Houston. The tickets are already on sale. You will definitely see me there. So if you are a local Houston plant foldie, I would love to meet up with you. You already know I will be wearing my Grow Folds t-shirt. So if you want to meet up with me, send me a direct message on Instagram. Let me know if you're going. And I hope that you guys would actually buy tickets. That will be my first plant convention, plant show that I'm actually an influencer. Never really thought of myself as a plant influencer, but I would tell you, with the amount of support I've gotten from you guys, for y'all to just be going to these big box stores with me, really watching my plant shopping videos, commenting, hitting the like button. You already know I need that help with the like button. It's really propelled my platform, and that's what really brings me a lot of joy, just to be able to walk around here, show you these plants, give you my insights, ask for your insights. That's all so much fun, and the fact that I can do this on a daily basis, it's really part of my day-to-day, everyday life, and I just really enjoy it. Again, in all my videos, I like to take the time to at least say thank you. It is a very humbling experience. It's an honor for me to just, present plants in a way where you and I seem like we're hanging out together. So let me get off my little soapbox and just kind of show you the remaining plants. You can see that those are large alocasia with a beautiful veining. That is an alocasia regal shield. And then we just have a plethora of beautiful color. We can see that this is a cordyline kiwi, also known as a harlequin, in a mixed planter with a bunch of Croton petras. I will probably buy some Crotons next week if I find them at a good price, just because I feel like, Crotons, I talk about how much I love Crotons anyway. I might as well go ahead and, feel the fall season, the fall, the vibes that the, Crotons give. And then you can also see that there are a bunch of proven winner starter planters. Look at that beautiful Calathea orbifolia. That one is for $14.98. That's also on sale by proven winners. But Calathea orbifolia, that is another one, another Calathea that I love the structure of, but I have sent it to Plant Heaven about 5 times. So I'm gonna steer away from it unless I can find it as a really good price. But I can't get over the fact that this beautiful alocasia I've never seen before, and what I really find beautiful is the fact that it has a golden yellow stem. Something about stem colors really get me excited with plants, and you know, just all of the flamboyant colors of a croton. So now we're gonna go big box store plant shopping at another Home Depot. This is further down south. This is off in West Plano, Texas, and this one is another place or another Home Depot that I visited not too long ago, where I found a variegated sport desert rose. We're gonna see what plants they have available here. So this is the second portion of the video. I am surprised that they actually have a bunch of sunflowers still available in containers. You can see right over here we've got some sunflowers, but as far as Home Depot, if I were to highlight plants that you should buy at Home Depot, they would be more of the large foliage plants. So if you're looking for like a Monstera deliciosa, if you're looking for some Aglaonemas, if you're looking for an Alocasia, a Dracaena, I would say Home Depot tends to have more of a selection and a really good price as compared to all the other big box stores. That's just my opinion. So, you know, we'll see what that looks like. And then over here, plant foldies, we've got a bunch of mums. So you already know, if you're gonna buy mums or chrysanthemums for the season, I would buy them when they haven't really bloomed yet, because then your blooms will last a little bit longer into the season. Now they are readily available. I love the colors. And you can see over here, speaking of large foliage plants, so this one is $29.98 versus it being $44.98. Massive Alocasia regal shields, and you know, this is a plant that I would love to add into my collection, but the size of the Alocasia is already a size constraint for my space, and it's very much spider mite prone. Now also, this is a really good price for some Monstera deliciosas, and so we're gonna go look at that in the indoor garden section, but I did want to take a little bit more time to show you the outdoor section. Here's the thing, plant foldies, the last time I visited here, I didn't really show the outdoor section. I would dub this Home Depot as one of the best Home Depots in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is the one off of Parker Road? In Plano, West Plano, Texas. This is right next to the Costco. So if you get a chance, definitely check this out, because the organization of the plants, the health of the plants, the variety of the plants, the selection of the plants is top notch. Like you can see, look at this beautiful merchandising that they have over here of the croton plants. I really love the croton petra. It is another croton, or just another plant that I think, at least for the fall season, can we all see about buying at least a croton plant, you know, growing it on your patio and just giving it a chance. Now here is an example of a mum or chrysanthemum that's in full bloom. So if you were to purchase that, for instance, that bloom would only last for about a week and a half. So you want to go buy blooms where they are literally just starting to bloom, or no blooms at all. That way they will last you a little bit longer. What I love about chrysanthemums is the fact that they have a mounding round shape about it. So it's a really nice, cute little bush. Those can be grown into the ground as well. And I mentioned how mums are perennials, so they will come back year after year depending on your grow zone. And then you can see right here, they've got those combination planters by Nature's Way. I love the look of this particular cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. Like, part of me wants to attempt to grow this indoors, but I've seen it happen where cordyline plants, if you grow them indoors, they're just very much spider mite prone. But I do love this combination planter. Like, this one has that beautiful Asiatic jasmine, but you can see that it's got that yellow and orange variegation. If anybody can give me the specific plant ID for that, I would love that as well. And then you can see right over here, we've just got lots of colors going on, and this is actually only for $38.98. Like, I would totally buy this planter just because it has 3 of the plants that I would actually like, and the colors make sense. And that's the thing. Plant foldies, have you seen a lot of these mixed planters where the plants, the plant care doesn't really make sense, the color combination doesn't make sense, that particular color combination makes sense. Now these garden mums are for $14.98. I love that it's just a yellow mum. So, you know, mums in general, they come in many different shapes, varieties. I happen to find ones that look more so like the Japanese chrysanthemums, the more hybridized ones with the really large blooms. But you can see right here, plant foldies, more chrysanthemums, more crotons. We got the croton mames again right here. There is just a surplus of them, but I wouldn't mind buying the larger foliage ones because they're already established. I feel like crotons are a little bit slower growing for me, but if you again are able to grow them outdoors in full sun, they're going to give you the best coloration. And you can see that there are some succulents and cactus available at this Home Depot. I would say the previous Home Depot I visited had a better selection, and that one's way further out north. This is further down south, and you can see right here they've got some ground cover, and then we have some crepe myrtles as well as a variegated ginger plant. And I do love the look of a variegated ginger plant. That's a plant that I've tried to grow in my collection, but it's been a little bit difficult to grow indoors. And then right over here, plant foldies, the reason why I did want to come back to this particular Home Depot is I felt like I missed out, and I missed out on one particular plant, and that plant is going to be a high variegated golden pothos. I feel like that could be another pothos plant that I could either take propagations from and really push out even more variegation, because I mean, take a look at this. This is for $14.98 by Vigoro Plants. This is the last of the high variegation pothos, and if you look at the stems, the pothos stems, it's got a yellow stem on it, so it looks like it is already carrying a lot of variegation. So, you know, I don't mind buying a basic plant like a pothos plant, because if you look at that variegation, it is absolutely stunning. And again, you know, a lot of those Japanese pothos that we've seen start from, you know, finding a specific leaf that has a certain characteristic or variegation, and then propagating it and hoping that it continues to push out that same variegation. Now, for $14.98, I would also say this is a beautiful Hoya carnosa. Leave it in the comments if you would agree. Look at that variegation. It is absolutely stunning. It is another Hoya that I have in my collection. I have a hanging basket from Costa Farms, but this is the reason why I really like going to this particular Home Depot, because the arrangement of plants, the way they merchandise them, the health of the plants are top notch. And that goes to show that not all big box stores are made equal or created equal. So that's why I want to make sure that we look at these plants. Like this right here is a Dracaena Steed Soul. Love this as well. It's another plant that I would eventually want to add to my collection. This is also for $14.98. And what I like about it is the new leaves come out a little brighter yellowish variegation, and as it matures or hardens, it becomes more of a green tone, so you can kind of see like a highlighted version of it. And then these are some more Dracaenas right here. These are Dracaena Masangiana or cane Dracaenas, $14.98 again by Vigoro Plants. Dracaenas, again, are super easy to grow in an indoor space. They are low light tolerant. They are drought tolerant. They are definitely a plant for anybody starting their wonderful plant journey. I would recommend it, because if you find a plant that is a little bit easier to take care of and you're able to actually grow it in your space, you're going to be more inspired to do so. I know that there are certain people that have started a plant collection and they buy the more finicky plants like the calatheas, for instance. Those plants end up going to plant heaven, and then you get discouraged and you don't want to go, you know, grow plants. And that's my mission, you know, for this particular plant shopping video, is to really get people excited about buying plants that are going to be easy to care for, because they're going to bring you more joy, less stress, more relaxation. And you can see right here, as beautiful as this calathea is, I am not going to buy it because the price is not quite right, and I already have 3 calatheas that I already know I'm having to work a little bit harder. And that's the thing, sometimes you have to look at the plant. If the plant is beautiful but you have to work 10 times harder than, say, growing a pothos plant, you have to weigh your options on whether the amount of care you're going to put into the plant is really worth keeping the plant. Now, this is what they call the Club Buster Tropicals. This is only for $29.98. Wow. This is a huge Alocasia as well. And look at this. This is a huge Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf for only $29.98. That is an amazing price. That is a price that I feel like you couldn't pass up. Now, if I had a larger vehicle and I was in the, you know, in the hunt for a large fiddle fig leaf tree or a Ficus lyrata, I would definitely buy that today. So if you're looking for one, I would definitely go to this Home Depot and purchase one. And as I walk around here, plant foldies, you can see that we have another calathea. We have these calatheas again. Now let's see how much these calatheas cost. I believe these are for $19.98. So definitely a higher price for the size that you're getting, because they have some on sale for $18.88. And that's the reason why plant foldies, you've got to look at the plant pricing before purchasing. Like this one right here, $10.98. It's another Hedera Helix, or what you call the Hedera Helix or English Ivy. Love the look of that green one. And then you can see right here, we've got a hanging basket of a spider plant. And spider plants are a little bit challenging to find without any cosmetic damage. Sometimes the tips of their leaves end up getting brown. And then you can see right here, this is an Epipremnum aureum neon queen pothos, or not neon queen pothos, for only $7.98. That is in a 4.5-inch planter. Not a bad price, but you know, that is a plant that is a classic plant. It's an easy to care for plant. Plant foldies, that would be one that I would recommend. I think you guys should all get neon plants. And then you can see right here, this is a golden pothos, an easy to care for plant as well. One that I would also recommend, I'm really trying to influence everybody to growing pothos plants. Can we also try growing pothos plants? Because those plants will definitely bring you joy. You can see that there is varying varieties of pothos plants and the variegation as well. And I did see this Syngonium last time. So this is a Syngonium golden for $10.98, and I want to purchase it, but here's the problem with it. I did notice that there might be some mealy bugs on it. There was some white little cotton speckles, and while I could take my my neem oil spray and spray it down, I just feel like maybe some of the eggs may have dropped into the soil. So I'm a little bit cautious about that. I don't want to bring potential plant pests. And even though they have very healthy plants, I still feel like you have to be very diligent in inspecting the plants. Although this is a Syngonium, I definitely would want to add to my collection, because if you look at the coloration, the variegation, it's really interesting. I love how the leaves are a little bit more round and robust. Look at that green on green minty variegation. And even the new leaves that unfurl have a purple tone about it. Unfortunately, since I have kind of detected that there might be some potential mealy bugs on it, that would be a plant that I just wouldn't want to add to my collection. And that brings me to another point. Call me silly, but whenever I do fill my plants, before I go into my plant room, before I go near my plants, I go to my shower and actually take a shower to make sure that I don't have any, plant pests hitchhiking on my hair, my hands, my clothing. That is the amount of lengths I do to try to prevent plant pests. Now, here's the thing though, no matter how much plant preventative pest control you try to do, it is natural for us to see maybe a fungus nest pop up, spider mites, thrifts. You have to forgive yourself. You have to give yourself a little bit more grace, because it tends to happen, and it's not something that you should blame yourself for. But again, plant foldies, like I said, again, all of these plants, gorgeous plants, really like the look of these plants. And it is another plant like this one right here, this neon pothos. These are by Vigoro plants, but notice how these hanging baskets by Vigoro look a little bit healthier, look a little bit cleaner, and that's the reason why I love this Home Depot. So I'm just going to keep walking around and showing you guys some plants. Feel free to leave comments in the comment section. If you made it this far, thanks again. Please make sure you are hitting the like button. All of the beautiful colors. Like, I love that these large cordyline tea plants right here, these are the kiwi or harlequin ones. Plant foldies, should I buy it? Because it does have some nice foliage. And then I did want to buy an Aglaonema Silver Bay here today, but it looks like the ones that I really wanted have already sold out. They literally had this whole table full of Aglaonema Silver Bay. The good thing about it is, plant foldies, whenever you miss out on a sale or a plant that is at a big box store, you don't have to worry about it not coming back and getting restocked. You will be able to find them again. Like I've even thought about buying this Tomathophyllum right here, or what you call the saloon plant. This is another plant that when I was on vacation in the Philippines, I saw massive sizes, and they are very easy to care for. I do like the texture of the leaves. It's definitely got a very interesting texture, and this goes to show again that this particular Home Depot, or Home Depot in general, have large foliage plants. Again, this is probably one of the best Home Depots out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for plants, especially if you're looking for large foliage plants like this. Like you can see here, we've got some Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf tree. We've got some large Dracaena steed sole right here, and that is actually really uncommon to find in that size because they just grow a little bit slower, or at least Dracaenas are. That's the thing about Dracaenas, is as easy care for they are a little bit slower to grow. And then you can see here, you can't get away from crotons if you're going big box store plant shopping, or just going plant shopping in general. Crotons, at least in the fall season, will be everywhere. I don't mind it because I actually love crotons. Some people absolutely hate them. I hope that at least as a plant folder, you would be open to maybe growing them or finding some appreciation. They just remind me of my home country, the Philippines, because they are literally everywhere and they grow into large full-size trees. So I love the look of that. And then as I pan away, just look at how gorgeous all of these plants are. And I'm just going to keep walking around and showing you these plants. Looks like Proven Winner still has a bunch of plants for 50% off. You can see that this one is a Ficus elastica Chloe. Normally it is for $19.98, but it is for $9.98. So, I might debate on purchasing this one. This is the one Ficus elastica that I don't have. What I like about it is it does have rounder leaves. You can see this is a Ficus elastica burgundy. I do want to buy a Ficus elastica burgundy, and I do think that they have the larger form that's normally $29.98 for only $14.98. So that would be another plant that I'm definitely going to purchase. You can see we've got some philodendron sun reds and just more plants. These are all for $9.99, these particular ones. I'm also going to buy a Feeling Flirty Tradescanthia because the first one I ever got actually went to Plant Heaven, but that is not a bad price at all, and it's already super thick and compact already. So I want to add this because of the purple lavender color of the actual Tradescanthia. We'll see if I can grow this long-term successfully, but that is always nice to see that at this big box store they have a huge sale going on right now, and that is Proven Winners plants for 50% off. And I might even buy a Ficus elastica ruby. Look at how beautiful this one is. Look at that variegation. And that's the exciting part about going to a big box store. The surprises you see with certain plants, but also when you find one that is on sale. I am all about getting good value for my plants. I feel like if you're going to buy plants, you have to find it for the right price. I say that in every single video, and I will continue to say it, especially when you go big box store plant shopping. You already know that these plants are going to be restocked. Now, I will also make a comment about all of these Leaf Joy Leaf Joy Proven Winner plants. These are for $19.98, but they're also on sale for $9.98. So if you do want to try growing a hydroponic plant, or a plant that's just growing in water, you can do like this is the Calathea Star Beauty or Beauty Star. Pretty healthy looking roots, and again, this is also on sale. So I'm just going to keep picking up these plants that are on sale and show you what they have available. love the look of this Epiprimnum aureum Enjoy. Like, this is a legitimate one. You can see how high contrast the variegation is. This is for $5.98. Really tempted to do that. That is another plant that I could have multiples in my plant collection. Actually pull those plants and then take a look at this green shields. This one is for $14.98. This is an example of how I held off from buying one for Costa Farms. They had him for like $19.84, but this one I ended up getting on sale for $14.98, and it was actually a lot more full than the Trending Tropicals version. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, super exciting that we have all of these plants, these proven winter plants on sale. And I'm just going to keep picking up plants, showing you these plants. Let me know in the comments what you think. These ones are for $5.98. I love the Leaf Joy Littles series by Proven Winners.
Chosen to everybody.
Freckled Splash or Splash Freckled. That's a really nice looking one. Mine doesn't have nearly as much splashy color on it, but I am providing it with a little bit more light in the hopes that it's going to get better coloration. But as I pan away here, if you ever want to get good starter plants, Proven Winners has some really nice plants. You can see that they've got Tradescanthia, they've got Fittonia, they've got Hoyas, they've got ferns. So I'm just going to keep pulling these up and showing you the plant details. A beautiful plant as well. I love the Ficus elastica burgundy, and I will definitely be buying one today. I think I may end up buying this one because it's got some really good foliage. It's got a really good structure about it. Look at how beautiful and dark the foliage is. You know, I love dark foliage plants, and you know, the amount of darkness that these leaves have, super beautiful, super elegant, at least in my opinion. And this is an easy to care for plant that I would recommend for anybody. I would say, you know, Ficus elastica, what makes them a little bit more challenging is that they just need a little bit more light, but if you're able to provide them that lighting condition, they'll do well. This one is also a plant that I find beautiful, but I would not put in my collection currently. Calathea obtusifolia, or not obtusa, sorry, Calathea or orbifolia, but that one is for $14.98. This is a philodendron rojo Congo, easy to care for plant. I would actually buy this as well for $14.98. There are several rojo Congos in this one, and this is another proven winners plant. Really like the look of it. Even though people will say this is a basic plant, this is a plant that I would still recommend growing into your plant collection. Plant folies, I've shown you a lot of plants. This one is also another beautiful Tomathophyllum or saloon plant for $24.98. And for me, going to two different Home Depots and seeing that the quality of plants at both Home Depots were on point, it's just really exciting. I know that I mentioned we all need to be shopping at local plant nurseries, supporting small businesses. I do think that we need to do that, but I also think that if you're looking for some cost-effective plant prices as well, you can go to Home Depot, for instance. Like all of these plants right here are for only $14.98. So you can see like there's a philodendron gloriosum, beautiful plant. If you want a large Calathea orbifolia, you can go ahead and spend the $14.98, which I think is really a good price. And then as I walk around here, you can see that there's just so many plants to pick from. This would be another Home Depot where I would know that if I actually took the time to go here and drive here, it's a little bit of a drive for me. It's about a 25-minute drive. I know that it would be worth the I guess the travel, because they will always keep their plants restocked and organized. And for me, organization, presentation, merchandising, and even the health of the plants is a really big deal for me, especially when I'm shopping at a big box store. I would say my expectations for big box stores are a little bit high, considering that most big box stores don't look at their plants as like the top priority. You know, they are in the business to sell. So it depends on the staff that actually take care of the plants. I would say if they have team members that actually take care of the plants because they are also plant lovers, that's probably why we have all of these beautiful plants being organized. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, I do want to know your insights again. And if you haven't made it to that like button, please hit the like button for this video. I am just currently selecting the plants I want to purchase. Like I think I want to buy this Tradescandia Feeling Flirty, since it is on sale for only $9.98. did want to walk over inside and just show you the beautiful I guess the setup, the decorations, the presentation that they have of their pumpkins. So this is one Home Depot that actually has a bunch of pumpkins. You can see that they've got them signed with different plant pricing. You can see that there are a lot of crotons as well. I should have probably bought a croton today when I filmed this actual video, but you know, I have all of next week and all of the rest of fall to really get the crotons. Now, if I'm gonna buy crotons, I already know that I'm gonna have to have a designated space with a bright grow light to grow them, and probably have some type of humidifier because they like that humidity level. So that's something I want to plan for if I'm going to actually buy plants. And that's another I guess advice I would have plant foldies is always plan for long term for your plants, whether it's the size of the plant that it will potentially grow in your care, the humidity levels, whether you have to overwinter the plant. Like if you're going to grow the plant outdoors but have to bring it inside, have a designated space for it. But you can see here, plant foldies, I'm loving the crotons. Let me know in the comment section if you like the crotons as well. And I did want to just show you the last part. So we've got some of these plants that are on sale as well for only $19.99. So I love blooming anthuriums, and I regret not purchasing one of these pink ones. I do want to add more of these pink anthuriums to my collection. You can see that it's a gorgeous plant. I don't think we really look at blooming plants as something that we want to add into our spaces. But like this one right here, crown of thorns for $12.98, but I love the pink blooms that it has. That's another plant that I would love to add to my collection. Leave in the comments, plant foldies, if you actually grow blooming anthurium. Like this is the one that I picked up, wanted to buy, and then when I turned around, somebody else picked it up. So that's another thing. If you find a plant and you're out and about, if you want to buy the plant, go ahead and put it in your cart, because I didn't want to tell the couple that picked it up that I was wanting to buy the plant, because clearly there's no reservations for it. But as far as these anthuriums, if you're able to give them bright indirect light, provide them with you know, consistent watering, they're going to do well for you. And you can see that they do have these proven winter plants again for $9.98. This is the Ficus elastica taniki. So I'm just going to keep showing you a couple more plants before I end this video. Hopefully you have enjoyed what you've seen so far. Hopefully you will be inspired to go shopping, plant shopping at a big box store like Home Depot. It is one that I would recommend, especially if you're wanting to grow your collection. And you can see right here, this is the actual anthurium I want to buy. It's the orange bloom anthurium, a really nice looking one. This one is in a larger pot. I think it's for $19.98. So let's see.
You don't want my heart, you don't want my love, you just want me crying over you. You don't want my heart, you don't want my love, you just want me crying over you. I'm thinking about you.
Lastly, we have a Hoya carnosa right over here. Really like the look of that as well. That is another plant that I really like the look of. And that is also for $19.98. So, you know, if you go to a Home Depot, a big box store, you will see the Vigoro hanging basket plants available. They have a bunch of healthy looking ones though for $19.98. So I'm just going to keep panning around here. You can see that we've got a bunch of Phalaenopsis orchids. Phalaenopsis orchids are readily available year round, and I'm always surprised that they they are readily available. And we're gonna see what else we have here. We have another blooming anthurium. I really like the look of that as well. And then we also have a ficus elastica taniki and another anthurium here. This is a common red one, but I still feel like, you know, this needs a lot of love. That's one that you should add to your collection. That is only for $12.98. So we have some that are on sale as well by Costa Farms for $13.98, but I feel like these ones have a larger bloom and just the plant is a little bit more developed, so I would definitely buy that. And I do regret not buying this crown of thorns, the pink variety. It's only $8.98, so if I come back or I find it, I'm probably gonna add that. Crown of thorns is more of a succulent type plant, just FYI, so that is another plant I don't know all about, so I'm going to do a little bit more research before I buy the plant. But that is one that I probably should have bought. I didn't. And then you can see we've got a bunch of kalanchoe. But again, plant foldies, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. I appreciate you watching this today, as well as subscribing to my YouTube channel at Growfolds with all the notification bell on. This is Richie. Enjoy the weekend. I'll see you on the next one. Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Growfolds, and today will be big box store plant shopping at Lowe's out in Carrollton, Texas. As always, plant foldies, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. It definitely helps drive engagement for the channel and grows this channel substantially, as well as following me on Instagram at Growfolds. If you want to send me a direct message or get in touch with me directly, that is the fastest way to do so. And if you like daily 1-hour plant shopping videos, definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel at Growfolds with the notification bell on, so you're always updated whenever I do live premieres or update any kind of content for my YouTube channel. But as you guys can see, plant foldies, and for those that are new to the channel, welcome. I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. You can see that I am all the way out in Carrollton, Texas today. I decided to go further down south from North Dallas out to Carrollton, Texas. So this is my first time actually going to this Lowe's location. I know I frequently go to Lowe's locations out in North Dallas or just in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but as far as Carrollton, Texas Lowe's, I have never been to this one. So we're going to definitely check out what plants they have to offer. I know that it is the season to see a lot of these seasonal plants, so I'm sure we'll see a bunch of crotons and chrysanthemums. So as we approach the entrance right over here, we can see that this Lowe's is just right off of the George Bush Tollway. So if you are familiar in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you can actually see that this is a Lowe's location that is right off of George Bush. But as you can see, we do have some chrysanthemums. And as I turn around over here, we see a bunch of crotons, but you would think that it's already in December or late November, but we haven't even made it out to October yet. And you can see that this Lowe's already has a bunch of holiday items. You can see that there are already a bunch of Christmas trees. So the holiday season is already in full effect. I guess that's what happens when you are in retail. But as far as the plants, I am excited to see what we have. So we walked in here, and I love the fact that this Lowe's actually has a separate indoor tropical section aside from, you know, away from the main place. So there is actual natural light hitting these plants, and you can see they've got several big plants available. So there is plenty of room for a lot of the plants here. You can see that we've got a bunch of crotons. So we've got some croton petras, and these ones are sourced out by Costa Farms. These are for $19.98. And everywhere you turn, plant foldies, you will see that there are a bunch of croton petras and croton plants in general. I'm passing by a bunch of large foliage plants, which we will get to in just a bit. But what I love is that they have that natural lighting for a lot of these plants. So these plants are going to definitely thrive a little bit more so if they are given the proper conditions as far as like consistent watering, because the lighting is already there. But you will see that a lot of the plants you will find at Lowe's would be mostly Costa Farms Urban Jungle plants as well as live transplants. You can see that they have all of these beautiful planters here. So they've got the ones by color story. So you'll see all of the blues, the greens, the pastel colors. I am particularly drawn to this one. This has a little bit more of a more modern, minimalistic look about this planter, which is what I like. That one is for $10.98. And I've seen this planter before. This is actually a ginkgo leaf planter, and I love ginkgo trees. I would say the ginkgo tree is a favorite tree of mine. I actually have one. I have a ginkgo summer was it summer gold or summer autumn that's growing in my backyard. I've been growing it for the last 5 years, and it has put on a lot of height. And then you can see right here we've got some saucers as well to catch any of the excess water whenever you water plants. This is another planter that I like as well. That one is a really nice color. I like that gunmetal matte finish. And then if you want to actually put some plants on some of these plant stands, this one is one that I would add. I actually have this particular plant stand as well. It's just a little bit taller, and I like the fact that it's very minimalistic. But let's go ahead and take a look at these plants. So when I was filming these plants right here, I went to film around in the early or late afternoon. I don't even remember. You know, it was a whole day of filming, but you can see that there is quite a bit of light. You can see that one is a little bit of a dehydrated silver streak pothos. We see right over here in Alocasia poly. Now Alocasia poly, this one is in a self-watering planter, $15.98. You can see that there is a new leaf that recently unfurled. It hasn't fully hardened. I like the Alocasia poly. It's just that for me, this particular Alocasia is just a little bit more spider mite prone. So whenever I'm selecting plants, plant foldies, I look for potential plant pests and how susceptible they are to plant pests. Like for instance, this Epipremnum aureum golden pothos, $15.98 in a 6-inch self-watering planter. That would be one I would recommend because it's not really susceptible to pests. I would say it is, potentially susceptible to like mealybugs or spider mites, but as far as actually attracting them, unless you are neglecting them, unless it is not in good health, it really won't get those pests. And then over here we have a Xanthosoma, beautiful plant. I'm noticing that this one might be a little dehydrated as well. I recently added this Xanthosoma. Now this one is a trending tropicals plant by Costa Farms. This one is for $19.84, and I ended up getting a larger version for $16.99 at a local plant nursery called Callaway's. So while most people will say that big box stores offer the most cost-effective plant pricing, you already know, if you are watching my videos on a daily basis, these big box or plant shopping videos, you'll be able to compare and contrast some of the plant pricing. So if you are on a budget, if you are a little bit more budget conscious about your plants, it's always a good idea to compare and contrast the plant pricing. You can't make these assumptions that all big box stores will have the best pricing. I would say in general, they could potentially have the best pricing, but if you ever look at some of the grocery stores, for instance, like Kroger grocery store or even local plant nurseries, you may be surprised to find that some plants are a little bit more cost effective in those venues. But as far as the consistency on plant pricing, I would say big box stores like Lowe's, they will have the same pricing for a lot of their plants. So for instance, all of the self-watering planters, for instance, by Costa Farms, are going to be $15.98, at least in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Now, if you notice right here, this is a golden pothos, and you can see that this particular golden pothos has been living its best life. So clearly, this one has been at this location for quite a while because it is really trailing. There is a lot of growth right there. And, if you want to get a really nice established plant, sometimes going to a big box store and buying that plant is actually a good route to go to. But you can see right here, Xanthosoma, again, this is another Costa Farms trending tropicals. All of the trending tropicals by Costa Farms typically are $19.84. At any big box store like Lowe's, You can see this one right here, beautiful foliage on the leaves, and the leaves itself really give this an interest. I always say this in my videos, but Xanthosoma remind me of like a cross between a caladium and an alocasia. Now, I've never grown one in my collection until most recently. I just added one about 3 days ago to my plant collection. I just did my pest preventative care. So what I do is I typically spray down, actually I don't typically, I always spray down my plants, the tops of the leaves, the bottoms of my leaves, in between the stems, the nodes, the surface of the soil, the bottom of the drainage hole, the sides of the planter with my DIY preventative neem oil spray. And not only does it make it super shiny for the plants, it gives it a layer of protection where that neem oil sits on the plant. It's not harmful for the plant, but it will prevent any potential pests and most likely kill pests like thrifts, mealybugs, and spider mites. So if you're going to add a plant to my, to a collection, especially at a big box store, and this is not a knock at big box stores. I love big box stores in a sense that they are accessible to most people, but there is a higher potential that there might be a plant pest if you buy a plant from a big box store as compared to a local nursery. So you want to take those preventative pest control. So if you don't make your own neem oil spray, I would always recommend buying a neem oil spray or some type of like plant insecticide, pest insecticide for the plants. I like to go more of the natural organic route versus getting some really harsh chemicals. So I end up making my own DIY spray. But as you can see right here, we've got the Kimberly ivy. And honestly, I haven't seen a lot of Kimberly ivies offered in big box stores as of late, except for Walmart. And that was a little while back. Self-watering planter, $15.98. And according to my grandmother, who is actually the inspiration of why I've gotten into plants to begin with, if you haven't seen her video, she has a video where she goes over her plants, her plant propagation tips. That is a big box or plant shopping video for Hope Depot. You can find that in the playlist. Definitely check that out. But she was able to propagate a bunch of ferns, and that's through plant division. So that's something that I really haven't delved into. That was one thing I learned from her, amongst a lot of other things besides plants. Like I've learned a lot of values, life lessons from my grandmother. I truly love her and just really cherish her. And I'm super happy that she is healthy, of sound mind, and really just inspiring a lot of people to do, to grow plants. Thank you all for the wonderful comments you gave my grandmother. She was able to see them. It made her day. And for those that haven't seen that video, again, please check that out. It's really inspiring to see how positive this plant community is. And so if you have made it into this video this far and you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. I encourage as many comments as you'd like to for this video. It definitely helps with the engagement, as well as just getting you guys involved and really opening a friendly dialogue amongst plants. I love to respond to all of the comments you leave me, and so definitely check that out. But first and foremost, please make sure you are hitting the like button for the video. You can see that we have some Epipremnum aureum. So the first one I picked up was a golden pothos, and then this one is not a golden pothos, I'm sorry, a neon pothos, and then this one right that I just put back on the to hang is a golden pothos. But this neon pothos, beautiful plant. It looks to be a little bit dehydrated. So if you notice, pothos plants can tolerate a little bit of underwatering, but as you can see, this plant right here is a little bit droopy. So have no fear. Once this gets watered, within a couple of hours, it will perk back up. Pothos plants in general are very durable plants. Unless you really don't water them for long periods of time, then it takes a little while for them to bounce back. But as you can see right here, since it has received quite a bit of light from that window, you can see how neon colored that is. That is with all neon plants. I say this in all my videos. You really have to give it quite a bit of light for them to really maintain that yellow neon color. Now, as far as a plant that is marketed as an easy to care for plant, this is a Sansevieria trifasciata, or what you call a snake plant, in a self-watering planter. That is a plant that is very durable, very easy, because of two factors. It is low light tolerant and drought tolerant. And then over here is a Ficus lyrata. So this one right here, $15.98 is the retail price. You can see that it has pushed out some more growth. It looks to be growing a little bit more compact than the typical Ficus lyrata. So they might have a Ficus lyrata bambino I have two versions of this Ficus lyrata, or what you call the fiddle fig leaf tree. This one, it seems to be the more compact version. And then we also have the large form, which that's what I have. I ended up finding one for 99 cents in a 6-inch planter at a local grocery store called Sprout. So as I reiterate, you have to really do your plant shopping. You have to do sometimes some window shopping to check it out. Or if you just want me to do the legwork, especially if you live out in the North Dallas area, subscribe to this YouTube channel with all of the notification bell on, and you will be, up to date daily, literally daily, for plant pricing that is coming out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then over here, we have a shingle vine plant right here, or a Rhaphidophora Hayi. Now, I'm not really as interested in the shingle plant for this reason. I really don't want to have like planks to grow a lot of these vining plants. And maybe that's the reason why I don't have like a lot of Syndapsis, because I know that they would rather grow on a plank. Now, as far as certain philodendron, obviously, I understand that they do need like poles, something of that nature, but actually having a full blown plank, notice how once it doesn't touch the plank, the leaves get smaller. So like, I don't know what that would look like for me long term if I had a shingle plant. And then over here, these are for $30.98. These are bonsai. I would really call these more so pre-bonsai, which means these are plants that are not really curated, trimmed to have a really good shape, nor is the actual like bonsai pot really a bonsai pot. Like I would rather have a little bit more shallow of a pot, but it is a good starter pre-bonsai if you want to get into that. So bonsai, it is another world of plant care. It is something that I am truly into. I just haven't really gotten into it. And the thing about it is, I want to make sure that this particular YouTube channel, that the niche really does stay within the indoor tropical houseplants. I do delve into outdoor gardening, landscaping, and whatnot, but for those that have subscribed to the channel, I know that most of you guys are plant lovers, but for the most part, I want to just continue to cover big box store plant shopping videos. And I know that you guys hear this from me in the, since for the, I guess the last 2 weeks where I am working on that houseplant tour. It's in the work. I'm definitely working on it. It will definitely appear on the YouTube channel once I just upload it. I may not even make an announcement, so that's why it's really imperative, if you are already subscribed to the channel, to double check if you have the notifications bell on. That way, if I do a pop-up for my houseplant videos, you are instantly notified. So definitely check that out. And then as far as calatheas, so here's a story. About a week ago, I ended up buying some really large calatheas for $18.88. They're still doing well. So I'm going to give you guys an update. They're still doing well. Just know that calatheas are a very challenging plant to grow long-term indoors because of a couple of factors. Number one, they are very much spider mite prone. They are a little bit more sensitive to the type of water you give it. So anything that has a little bit more chlorine in the water will definitely give it some more brown tips on the leaves. And then as far as humidity, they require a little bit more humidity. Otherwise, they start to get a little crispy as well. So lots of factors that make them a little bit more of a challenging plant, but if you're able to overcome those challenges, they will reward you with some of the most stunning and beautiful foliage that a plant can offer. So there is a drawback, but there's also pros to some of these plants. I would say the plants that are most challenging tend to give you some really beautiful foliage. Calatheas are an example, for instance, and alocasia. But if you figure out the growing plant care and you're able to provide them that consistent environment that they crave, they will reward you with so many beautiful leaves. Now over here, Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess. This is in a hanging basket, a 6-inch hanging basket for $16.98. And as far as Hoyas are concerned, very forgiving and easy to care for plants, more so than I first realized. And the reason why I say they're forgiving is they are very drought tolerant. I have literally not watered in a Hoya for about a month, and it was still able to bounce back after I watered it. So Hoyas are for me. And then same thing with this Dracaena Dorado. So I feature this often. This one is for $12.98 in a 6-inch starter planter. You can see this one has a little bit more larger foliage. Such an underrated plant, such a plant that most people don't really add into their collection. I think a lot of people who end up putting a Dracaena in their plant collection typically utilize it for like an office space or a space that would just be more for interior decorating versus just growing the plant to add into a collection. I say let's go ahead and start a trend and start buying Dracaenas because they deserve our attention. They're very durable and easy to care for plants. And then over here, we've got a Dieffenbachia. So this is also for $12.98. I actually like this Dieffenbachia right here because of the variegation. I do have one. It's growing outdoors in a shaded area and it's doing fairly well for me. I feel like Dieffenbachia need to be outdoors when they're growing because they like to get a lot of light. They do not really like lower light conditions. If you give them lower light conditions, they potentially become more leggy. In general, though, as Dieffenbachia grow and become more mature, they become a little bit more cane-like, more leggy. That's just really their natural habit when they start to mature. But it is a plant that, at first I really didn't want to add to my collection because it is very much a spider mite prone magnet of a plant. But look at how beautiful the colors are. They've got some light foliage here, and you can see that it is just a stunning plant. It is a plant though that a lot of people will say they've sent to plant heaven. I am one that has sent plenty to plant heaven, but I recently bought one that was on sale for $39.99. It must be at least a good 5 feet tall when I purchased it, and that was a really good plant find when I went to a local nursery. But as far as Dieffenbachia, I told myself I wouldn't really add them, but you can see right here there are two different versions. Leave in the comments which one would you like. Do you like the one this one right over here, or do you like this one right here? Leave in the comments, or leave in the comments if you like both. But both of them, if I was actually going to buy plants today, I would definitely buy both of those. But I have been spending quite a bit of money on my plants. I say this like every 2 to 3 videos, plant foldies. I have to laugh at myself. Sometimes I really just can't take myself seriously when I talk about I'm going broke with plants, because I put myself in a situation where definitely if you're in a big box store literally daily or a local nursery, I mean, the potential of spending money is substantially higher than maybe somebody who's just watching my YouTube videos. At least I can inspire and influence you, but you're not necessarily in the big box store. I, on the other hand, have to really practice restraint in terms of purchasing plants and really looking at my budget whenever I am filming content for y'all. And I love it. Literally, I am going more so on 10 months now where I have made pretty much daily plant shopping videos, at least an hour. And I have to be really excited about that because the amount of work that I have to put in makes it worth it, because I've seen so many people just get a lot out of my content. And again, plant foldies, I always like to take the time to say thank you again for that, for those that continue to tune into my live premieres, even when I am a little bit late. Normally, I like to get them up by 7 o'clock, but I have had premieres as late as 9, and you guys still get on the live premiere chats, and that to me is very heartwarming. It's very inspiring, and it continues to make me want to come out, drive all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area, edit these videos late at night to upload and get ready for y'all. So let's continue to have that plant party. Again, if you made it this far into the video, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video, as it helps grow my channel. And as far as these crotons, this right here is a croton bush on fire. As you can see, this is an example of a plant that's been in a big box store for quite some time, because literally the roots are popping out of the plant. I mean, if you see a plant and there's roots that are coming out of the drainage holes, that's honestly a good sign, because you know that that plant has really established. It has actually acclimated into a big box store environment. So for the most part, that plant is going to be healthy. I mean, right here, this is a Hydra helix, or what you call a Hedera helix curly locks. And then this is another Hydra helix. That one is a Hedera helix spear point ivy. You already know, if you've been watching this video on a daily basis, I love my Hedera helix, or the way I say it, Hydra helix. I know some people might find that a little bit cringe. I have to actually smile because it is just funny to me. And for the diehard plant foldies that like to count how many times I say that, I've said it 3 times already in the video. So I'm going to make it a little bit easy for you today. And as you can see, plant foldies, I like like to show you some of the products I use for my fertilizer. So I do use that Orchid Mist by Miracle Grow, and I also use the indoor plant food liquid fertilizer by Miracle Grow. It's a very mild Miracle Grow fertilizer, so literally I'll drop just like one drop into my watering can, and that's it. And I will water my plants daily, especially when it is growing season. I don't mind giving them just a very trace amount of that fertilizer. I feel like just a little nutrient won't burn the roots, won't burn the foliage. They won't overdose on it. I just feel like it's actually been very beneficial for them. And then now we're going to take a look at these exotic angel planters. These ones are typically $7.98 at Lowe's. You can see that this is another type of croton, and as a fall season really goes into full effect, we will continue to see a bunch of crotons. When I didn't make plant shopping videos or plant blogs, however you want to call it, I never paid attention about some of the seasonality of plants, but you can see right here, crotons are the rage. This croton has so many roots just busting out. So like this is a prime example of a croton that is healthy, that has probably been at this big box store for about a month and a half or even longer. And I'm happy because it hasn't made it into plant heaven. It hasn't been clearanced out because it's actually pretty healthy looking. And you can see right here, this is another example of a 5-inch planter by Costa Farms. These are for $7.98. This is a Dracaena Dorado. Very easy plant. It is another plant. I'm telling you, plant foldies, we need to add into our collection. And really, we should be adding these crotons. Like this is a very common croton. This is called a croton gold dust. Now, I ended up sending mine to Plant Heaven because I didn't really water it a lot. I didn't realize that they were a little bit more of a thirsty plant. And I didn't give it the best lighting conditions when grown indoors. So I'm going to try to actually collect crotons this fall season. I am inspired. I ended up buying some large chrysanthemums at Callaway's Nursery. But as far as crotons, I'm definitely going to purchase them, and I'm hoping that I can grow them long term. Just like my grandmother, she's had a couple that she's grown for years. And as far as an easy to care for plant, let's talk about peace lily or spathiphyllum. Super low light tolerant. The only drawback with this plant is it's just a dramatic plant. I wouldn't say you could actually send this to Plant Heaven if you don't water it consistently, but if you don't water it like on a daily basis, it will definitely droop and look like it's about to go to Plant Heaven. But then when you water it, it instantly perks up within like an hour or two. So very interesting plant. Those are the types of plants though that I don't really add to my collection, because I know that if I have a plant that I have to water daily, knowing my daily lifestyle, my daily plant routines, it's just not going to fit that. And I think a lot of us plant lovers, and I say plant lovers because I really do feel like even if some of the new subscribers are just beginner plants, you love plants. A lot of us want to grow plants and want to add as many plants as possible to our collection, but I want us to take the time to really step back and think about how much time you have to invest to grow plants whenever you're going big box or plant shopping, or just plant shopping in general, for instance. Please, really assess how many plants you already have in your plant collection, how much time it takes to actually water certain plants, what your lighting conditions look like, what your budget is going to look like long term, and see if that plant is really worth bringing into your plant collection. You know, my brother recently got a baby chow chow dog, and he wanted to get me one. And for the longest time, I didn't add any pets. And I know for the reason being is because if you bring, say, a dog, you have to invest so much time. That is literally like bringing a child, and just the cost that it would have long term. I've actually looked at, plants. It's a little bit different. So obviously that's a little bit more of an extreme example. But as far as looking at the long-term effects of growing plants, you got to think about how much money you're spending on the soil, how much money you spend on a pest preventative spray, fertilizers, grow lights, etc. It does become a costly hobby, and that's not me trying to discourage anybody. And I know that I'm not talking about the syngoniums right now. Sometimes I utilize a lot of these plant shopping videos to really just give you my plant insights. But as far as, I guess what I'm trying to say is, as of late, I've actually thought about certain, the long-term costs about plants.
I would say if the long-term cost about plants, if the amount of time you're investing in plants is worth the joy that they provide, then I wouldn't overthink it. I just, want to encourage people to kind of take a look at it. And the reason why I say it is I have actually, done some of my research. I've watched some of the older YouTube plant content creators where they were literally spending thousands and thousands of dollars. They were literally adding hundreds of plants. And I've seen the big burnout that they've had. There were some actual plant content YouTubers that do not even do YouTube content anymore. It's a little disappointing, but when I think about just the amount of time that was invested, the amount of money that was invested in, maintaining those plants, I just don't want to get into a situation, for instance, where I get burnt out. And I would say maybe some of us have been in there where we've actually been burned out. So I've been looking at, maybe downsizing certain plants. And when I say downsizing certain plants, maybe avoiding purchasing certain plants or even gifting certain plants to friends. I would say my plant collection, as I look at all of these exotic angel plants by Costa Farms, for instance, has actually been manageable. It's been a little bit more intentional. Now you can see here, this is another Hydra Helix. This one is a mini ivy Hydra Helix. This one is for $5.98. And this actually is an ivy that I have considered bringing back into my collection. And here's the reason why. Its growth pattern is a little bit more mini. So you can see it's a little bit more compact, beautiful variegation. And I feel like the smaller varieties of English ivy would be more manageable. But as you can see, or as you can tell, I know that I look at English ivy and have a little bit more caution when it comes to actually bringing them in my collection. Like this Tradescanthia, it's a beautiful plant, but as far as Tradescanthia, they're pretty, but I feel like at least the ones I've had in my collection, they tend to get really leggy and then they start to not look good. And yes, you can chop them back and, encourage a little bit more compact growth. But I don't feel like that particular plant for me is something that I want to grow long term. The only Tradescanthia I have in my collection that I want to grow long term would be a Tradescanthia Nanook, because it tends to have larger foliage. It's got absolutely beautiful pink coloration, and it doesn't get as leggy as some of the other varieties. And then as far as crotons, again, it's one of those things where you find a plant, that it's a beautiful plant, that it is seasonal, and all of a sudden you want to pick up and buy them. I found myself wanting to spend like $80 the other day by buying like 4 different versions, but I practice some restraint. It really depends on how I've organized my plants. So as you can see, plant foldies, it is a matter of just thinking about your intentional plant collection. Like I do plan on adding some crotons to my collection, not only for the season. I mean, I think they would make some beautiful patio displays, but I know where I would actually place them when winter comes. Winter is coming. For those that are actual fans of like Game of Thrones, winter is coming, and when winter comes, all of the plants that we grow, we have to overwinter them. We have to find a space for them. What I want to do with my garage is I actually have a ton of like planters. It's really disorganized, but if I'm able to organize them, I may be able to actually grow my plants in my garage, put a heater there, some humidifier, some grow lights, and have a whole growing like greenhouse in my garage. So that is going to be another project, but my number one project is to really get my plant room organized, to get my house cleaned up, organized, and continue to film my houseplant collection tour. I know you guys have been patiently waiting for that since last winter. Well, hopefully I can get you guys one soon, so just stay tuned for that. And then as you guys can see right here, I know plant folies, I've actually talked more so about plant insights versus the plants this episode, so bear with me. But you can see Philodendron heteroecium, Brazil, beautiful plant. And then we have another Philodendron heteroecium. The green form, this heart-shaped leaf philodendron is a classic plant. It's a plant that, most of the time will be marketed as a trailing plant, but really this is a plant that you want to grow up a totem pole, a moss pole, a plank, because if you do, it will give you a really large foliage leaves. You will actually see the full potential of the plant. It is absolutely stunning. And for those that have not seen my plant videos of Plant Keeper Incorporated, it's under my Dallas Fort Worth nurseries playlist, big box store plant shopping alternatives, definitely check that out. You'll see some large foliage of philodendron heteroeciums. Here is a classic rabbit's foot fern. That's an easy one to grow as well if you're going to look at ferns. And then, I picked up already another purple waffle plant, but this is another plant that for $7.98, it is fairly established. Love the dark foliage plant. It's a very interesting plant. It's a very thirsty plant. I actually watered my snow white waffle plant that I ended up giving another chance by purchasing one. Like, I want to go ahead and slowly buy back the purple waffle plant as well as the Belgian waffle plant. The only thing is, very thirsty plant and they need higher humidity levels. But with my plant room already set up, I'm just happy that I am able to provide more humidity. And I'm actually looking at this Syngonium berry illusion. Beautiful plant. If you look at the veining of the new leaf that it unfurls, what a gorgeous pink reddish veining that it has. Syngoniums are plants that I have been adding a lot more so to my plant collection because Syngoniums are actually my first love. They are they're always going to be my number one plant, even though I always kind of fall out of love and then I fall back in love with these plants. And the reason being is Syngonium is actually the first houseplant I've ever grown. I actually got a Syngonium white butterfly that as a kid, I think I was in elementary school, picked up one from Target of all places, big box store Target, when they really sold a bunch of like houseplants. And I ended up growing it in a bathroom that didn't have light, but for some reason it still thrived. So like that was a really interesting plant. And then you can see right over here, plant foldies, we've got a beautiful Palea dark mystery. This one is for $7.98 in a 5-inch starter planter. And there are 3 different types of starter planters, or actually 2 different types, that Costa Farms offers. They have the 3.5 inch and then they have the 5.5 inch ones. Typically, the 3.5 inch starter planters, at least at Lowe's, are $5.98. Some other big box store retailers will sell them for a little bit less. I've seen them as low as $4. So again, it depends on which big box store you're shopping at for some of these plants. I would say if you want really inexpensive, trending tropical self-watering planters, the 6-inch ones, the cheapest place or the most inexpensive place to buy them would be at Kroger grocery store. They would be for $16.99 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at least, versus the $19.84 that you would spend at another big box store. But either way, there are, different plants that you can pick from. And I've noticed that a lot of the exotic angel plants are pretty much the same at this location. So we've got different sizes of peace lilies, and I do want to add a peace lily to my collection, but I want one that is highly variegated if I'm going to add that to my collection. You can see right here, this is the Moon Valley Palea. This one has some really interesting texture. This is one that I would probably add to my collection, but I would add it as a terrarium type plant. I have projects where I want to create a terrarium with my lampshade. That's actually a lamp that's clear. I used to have a terrarium setting, so hopefully I can get that set up again. I do have one where it is like a terrarium lampshade, and it has leca balls, and I have global green pothos cuttings that have been propagated and are growing a little bit more miniature, and it's actually doing well for me. There's no maintenance. It's literally sitting there with leca balls, water, and humidity, and it's still growing. So I love that. And then over here, plant foldies, take a look at this Syngonium Maria. Look at that new leaf that's unfurling. It is so cool. I love that caramel brown tone that it has. And then with Syngonium Maria, more light will make it actually a more dark chocolate look to it. So it looks like this one may either haven't gotten a lot of light, but Syngonium Maria is another common Syngonium you'll find at a big box store. Typically, Costa Farms will actually release this particular exotic angel plant, and I have to hand it to Costa Farms. So, Costa Farms sometimes will have some people that have some negative things to say about that particular plant nursery, but as far as the accessibility for a lot of these house plants, they are the reason why a lot of us are able to get all of these house plants at an affordable price. Some people will say that, big box stores take away from local plant nurseries. I would say if you truly think that, then we need to support local plant nurseries. But some people, like a lot of our viewers, may not necessarily have local plant plant nurseries or small businesses to attend. All they have are big box stores. So I just feel like there is a balance between buying plants at a big box store and supporting small businesses in local nurseries. You already know that the majority of my content is big box store plants. However, I spend actually a lot more money buying plants from a small business or a big a local nursery is what I'm trying to say. And you can see that from all of the content I've also created. You know, if I'm going to recommend local plant shops in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, number one, I would recommend going to Peta's Planters. David and Lupita have an amazing plant shop out there. I would also recommend Callaway's Nursery chain of nurseries. Even though it is a chain of local nurseries, it is one that I frequent. I would also go to Rubal's nursery. I would also go to Plants and Planters, and then also Plant Keeper. Those are some of the places I would recommend because they have a lot of plants. But as far as this Lowe's in Carrollton, Texas, I am impressed at the setup that they have. They have quite a bit of the same plants. However, that would be my only critique. And I don't know if it's because they haven't gotten any restocks, but there are some Lowe's that actually have quite a bit of, say, trending tropical plants. I haven't seen a lot of trending tropical plants at this location, but they have a fair amount of healthy plants. There are a couple of plants that are a little bit questionable, but like that philodendron heteroraceum right there, nice looking philodendron heteroraceum. And then we can just see right here, and I'm just going to keep picking up some plants. Like this one right here is a Dracaena Janet Craig compacta. So I'll just keep showing you some of these exotic angel plants by Costa Farms. So as far as a trending tropical plant that we see that I guess Costa Farms has really released are all of these Epiprimnum aureum lemon meringue pothos. This is in a self-watering planter again for $19.84. I am thankful that Costa Farms has been releasing quite a bit of new plants. Now, as far as the new releases that they've had, I've seen some more aglaonemas make it into the market, some geo plants, and then just a surplus of these pothos plants. Now, live trends, now we're looking at some of the live trends plants. This one is a new type of planter, at least one that I haven't seen. This is what you call a red marantha or a prayer plant. Really like this plant. Look at the veining of the leaves, and this is a plant that is similar to a calathea, but I feel like it's less finicky. It's still a challenging plant to grow indoors, but as far as calatheas versus maranthas, I feel like maranthas have a little bit more durability. And then you can see right here, this is another Epiprimnum aureum lemon meringue pothos. Here's the thing about lemon meringue pothos. So it looks similar to a global green pothos, that green on green variegation, but this one has more of a yellow aurea tone about it. This is a prime example, though, of a pothos plant that doesn't really have the most stable variegation. So you have to give it quite a bit of light for it to really push out that yellow variegation. Otherwise, it becomes more of a subtle green on green variegation. So if you are going to grow a lemon meringue pothos, you want to make sure that you are growing it in a condition that either is at a western facing window, a south facing window, or under a grow light. That's the kind of lighting you want to give it if you want to grow this plant and really push out that variegation. Now, if you just want to put it in a lower light condition, it will still survive. I wouldn't say it would thrive, but it will still live and it'll do okay for you. I don't think that it will give you the best growth. It's already a slower growing pothos as compared to the golden pothos right here. Now, this one is for $15.98. in a self-watering planter. With golden pothos, there are varying degrees of variegation. If you look at a golden Hawaiian pothos, it is highly variegated, and then you have these medium variegated pothos. Some of them are even as close to like a jade pothos where it's mostly green, and it looks like Costa Farms must have just released a crop of geoplants, because you can see geoplants being even sourced out at big box like other big box stores and local nurseries. I ended up purchasing this plant, and I watched a Costa Farms video. I've been watching a lot of the Costa Farms plant hunter video series when they actually release the plant and give care tips, so I would recommend even checking out Costa Farms YouTube channel. But what I learned about geoplants are they are a thirsty plant. They do like humidity. This plant actually perspirates, so it actually releases moisture from its leaves, therefore it does make it more of a finicky plant. But when you touch the plant, it's actually very thick and rubbery, so you would think that this plant actually is a little bit more drought tolerant. It is not, so you want to make sure that you don't let the soil dry out completely. It is a beautiful plant. You know, dark foliage plants, there is an element of like elegance, I believe, when you get a dark foliage plant. It is a really nice plant that you can put right next to a plant, maybe like a pink plant or a plant that has like much lighter foliage to really get that contrast. And you can see right here we have some ZZ plants. This ZZ plant right here, $15 again and 98 cents. Beautiful new foliage that's coming out. You can see that it's got that neon green color about it. Really like the look of that that ZZ plant as well. It's another one I would recommend. It is another plant that I feel like it's very much underrated. I think a lot of people will look at a ZZ plant as like a basic plant since it's not like a variegated plant, but it is a plant that I feel like won't give you a headache. I feel like it will grow easily in your plant collection. Same thing with an Aglaonema red Siam and plant foldies. Here is an example of a really nice Aglaonema red Siam. You've got several plants in a pot. Look at the pink stems, the pink red stems, $15.98. And I'm actually super tempted to purchase one from this location because I can see that they have several varieties of them. So I'm going to take a lot of these out and show you the selection. Let me know in the comment section, plant foldies, which Aglaonema red Siam you would pick. And also, if you made it this far into the video, first of all, thank you. And then second of all, if you haven't hit the like button, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. But you can see plant foldies, we've got 3 varieties already to choose from. They're all very full. You can see that there is a 4th one right here. I'm just going to keep picking more. You can see that there are a lot of them. Here is the 5th one. That one has a lot of plants in one, but all of them are really good specimens of Aglaonema red Siam. You know, the thing about Aglaonema is that they can get leggy, and so if you're able to find one that is really bushy from the base of the plant, that is a good idea. But you can see that there are many Aglaonema red Siams that you can pick from this location. You can see that is the 6th one that I found right there, and that one looks really nice as well. It makes me tempted to like buy all of them and then put them in one large planter. That would be super cool. Or at least get 3 of them and then put them in like an 8-inch planter or a 10-inch planter and really get a nice full plant. Aglaonemas, they do shoot out what you call pups or little babies. So you can propagate Aglaonema from plant separation as well. My grandmother typically does that rather than doing stem cuttings. And then over here, we have some African violets. So as far as African violets, I'll have to tell you that I tend to want to collect African violets that have a little bit variegation versus just a green one, because once the African violet is out of bloom, I feel like there's not enough interest for me to really want to keep them. So it having, I guess, the variegation is why I want to go ahead and grow variegated African violets. So when it is out of bloom, you can see that there is still leaf interest. And I did want to show you these lucky bamboo, or that's what they're called, but they're actually not bamboo. They are Dracaena. They're part of the Dracaena family. This is a Dracaena sandriana. These are also thought to give you good luck and fortune. So you can see that this has just a bunch of different types of Dracaena sandriana. Now with this plant, you want to make sure that it does remain a little bit more wet. If you let it dry out too completely, it will not be a good thing for this plant. This plant actually is usually grown in hydroponics, which is basically straight water. It can survive in that. Now it does need bright indirect light. You don't want to give it full sun, otherwise it'll end up burning. And it is one of the easiest plants to take care of. I think for those that are really superstitious or like anything that has like Lucky Charms, this would be a plant that you could add. This is often seen at a lot of Asian grocery stores or Asian shops because it is thought to be one that gives good luck. But you can see this is the braided form, and these are by Costa Farms as well. And you can see we've got some blooming anthuriums right here, $13.98. You can see that the planter, it's a different one. I like it. I just wish that maybe they didn't have like the patterns on it. I would have preferred just a very simplistic planter. I do like the matte finish for it, and I really like this yellow color. It's almost like the Costa Farms logo color. I really like this deep yellow, this golden yellow. Beautiful plant. I just wish that the there wasn't any like actual texture on it. I would have preferred it to just be a very smooth surface, a matte finish. But you know, I that's just my personal aesthetic. I like more of the minimalistic look for the planters. I feel like the minimalistic look for the planter actually enhances the plant. It doesn't become a distraction. But you know, sometimes planters with patterns, really cool textures also give the plant more character. So it really just depends on, I suppose, your plant I guess your plant aesthetic. But as far as this particular plant, I love blooming anthuriums. One of the easiest plants to take care of. They're very durable as well, very tolerant of negligence. But again, it is another plant that if you can provide it with bright indirect light, it'll give you more blooms. And I just love the foliage, the deep green that it has. They can get fairly large as well. And, you know, as far as blooming anthuriums, you know, this is a common plant that you will find at any big box store, grocery store, or local nursery, but they have different varieties of blooms as well. So I tend to like the pink blooms. And then you can see right here, live trends plants. I haven't seen quite a bit of live trend plants for Lowe's, but this one is a Horthia. And again, with Horthias, even though it is a succulent type plant, it can tolerate lower light conditions, which is actually surprising considering that the general rule of thumb for succulents are lots of bright light, sometimes even full sun. But as I pan away here, all of these large foliage plant, I mean, this is actually a pretty big size area to house plants. So I'm surprised that they have lots of large plants, but not necessarily the smaller varieties. So I don't know if they're just, you know, re-merchandising it to where they don't have as many of the plants. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, we have several plants by Live Trends and Urban Jungle. So there's usually an end cap full of them. You can see right here, this is a self-watering planter. This one is a lighter Haworthia. It's got more of that mint look about it. Really nice plant. And it is self-watering. And so some people, they do better with self-watering planters. It kind of takes the guessing game of watering plants. It keeps the soil, the surface of the soil dry, which means you won't actually have like potential plant pests like fungus gnats being able to lay their eggs. So that's, you know, a plus for it. And then you can see right here, Urban Jungle. I could see that there's a U and a J etched into it. I have never seen that type of planter. I do love the look of a terracotta finish or a terracotta pot. So that's really nice. That's a Dracaena. And then right over here is a palm. And, you know, again, with palms, I'm not really interested in palms because they do require quite a bit of light. They can be mealy bug prone. So there's just some factors for palms that I don't want to add to my collection, and they just take up a lot of space. But really, it's the lighting and space constraints that deter me from really wanting to add palms in my houseplant collection. Now, as far as peperomias, very durable plants. This is a peperomia obtusifolia. This one again is for $13.98. So a lot of these 4.5-inch planters that Costa Farms Urban Jungles offers, it's a really good value for it. Like this one right here is a philodendron moonlight. Love that neon colored leaf. This is another philodendron. You need to give quite a bit of light for it to really hold on to the neon colors. And you can see there's a second one right over here. This is another philodendron moonlight. I love that that Urban Jungle has the U and the J etched into it. I do like Urban Jungle plants. A lot of the Urban Jungle plants I purchase are typically alocasias because they offer quite a bit of alocasias for a really good value. But as far as like easy to care for plants, like this is another Sansevieria plant, $13.98. I would recommend it because it is low light tolerant, it is drought tolerant, and it's very easy to take care of. You can put that in a lower light setting and it will survive. Now, as far as thriving, again, you want to give it bright indirect light. And then I'm just going to show you these planters, these super cute live transplanters, $9.98. I guess this is a hedgehog, and you can see that these are a bunch of air plants. Now, where air plants, they are live plants. They are plants that you literally just have to soak in water, drench in water, pull out and let it dry, and that's how you water the plant. Plantfoldies, you can see that, Live's Trends, they always have some really nice planters. They have some very seasonally relevant planters. And as I pan away over here, this is a pretty large space for the plants. But you know what? My only critique for this Lowe's is I feel like they have a lot of large space, but as far as like the variety of plants, they don't have nearly as much as some of the other Lowe's where they literally have smaller space, but they are packed with different varieties of plants. Like this one right here, philodendron Birkin. It's another philodendron that has become quite common. You notice that this one doesn't have nearly as much striping or variegation. So that particular philodendron, you want to give it quite a bit of light. And then I do love this Live Trends planter. Like it does have texture, but I love how it's very intentional, very modern looking. And even though the plant, I'm not really a fan of this plant. This one's for $24.98. I am a fan of this planter. That would be a planter I would add to my collection. I really like how intentional the texture is, how modern it's looking. And then you can see right here, these are the classic Urban Jungle ceramic hanging basket planters. This is an Epipremnum aria Marble Queen pothos. You already know the drill if you've been watching my plants shopping videos. The care test for a Marble Queen pothos, if you want that variegation, you definitely have to give it quite a bit of light. Now, as far as Marble Queen, there are different variations of the the variegation. More light becomes more of like a Snow Queen pothos where it literally holds on to the white variegation. Now this one's a neon pothos. Again, one of my favorite pothos. It's probably in the top 3 for my pothos classics just because I love neon color plants, and this one is an easy, fast growing plant. And then you can see right next to it we have the golden pothos. So we have the golden pothos, the neon pothos, and the Marble Queen pothos. These are all in ceramic hanging basket planters for $14.98 by Urban Jungle. And these are the classic pothos. All 3 of them are very common to find, very easy. I highly recommend buying all 3 and adding them to your collection. And I'm actually working on a pothos project where I am cutting up a bunch of different types of pothos cuttings and then propagating them, and I'm going to put them in a mixed planter. You can see right here, this is another Live Trends hanging basket. This one's for $16.98. I do like how it's very minimal minimalistic. This is a philodendron brantianum. Now with philodendron brantianum, it is a little bit more of a finicky plant. I've noticed that a lot of retailers are wanting to sell this as a hanging basket, but really a philodendron brantianum wants to climb. It also likes a lot of humidity, which makes this plant a little bit more challenging to grow indoors long term unless you can provide them those in that environment. And then you can see right here, plant foldies, we've got a philodendron heteroraceum, just a green form, beautiful plant. This is again for $16.98. So, plant foldies, as far as the plants that I've featured at this big box store, please let me know in the comments which plants you like, which plants you purchased since watching my plant shopping videos. I'd really like to know in the comments. As always, I love that engagement, and I hope that you'll take the time to engage with me. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, this is actually one of my favorite plants. I finally added a small starter plant to my collection. This is what you call a flame violet or an Especia plant. Similar care tips to an African violet, and you can see that you can propagate them easily because they push out little babies that you can chop off from the mother plant and propagate directly into soil or water. I do have some exciting news. So yesterday, I was confirmed to be a plant influencer at the Texas Aeroid show out in Houston, Texas, October 26th. The tickets are on sale, so please check out my Instagram stories as well as my YouTube community for a direct link. But if you're able to make a road trip out to Houston, Texas, or if you are a viewer in Houston, please consider going to the Texas Aeroid show. I will be there. If you want to meet me there, I will be wearing a Grow Folds t-shirt, but I am super thankful, super honored that I was chosen to be a plant influencer at the Texas Aeroid show. I've never really thought of myself as a plant influencer. I literally just love, filming plants. Even though I haven't really done a face reveal, it's just interesting, and really I'm thankful to the Texas Aeroid show organization for reaching out to me and really taking care of me. I will definitely get you guys lots of content for that Texas Aeroid show. I want to make sure that I get hours and hours of content. So that way, for those that can't make it to a plant convention or a plant show, you'll at least get that experience to see it, even if it's just through my lens. Hopefully people are able to purchase some Texas Aeroid plant show tickets. They are really cost effective. I think general admission tickets are not that much. They also have a family pack and a buddy pack. So definitely check out for that link. And if you're interested, send me a direct message on Instagram, especially if you are a Houston plant foldy. I would love to do a Houston plant foldy meetup. I will be there Friday for the setup, and then I will definitely be there all day for the show. The show is on October 26th again. It starts from 11 to 6. Now, I don't know if they have the early access tickets or the VIP tickets, but if you are wanting to buy plants, I would recommend getting the early access tickets if you want to avoid the crowds, because it's going to be super busy. Or I feel like any plant shop, plant show would be busy. I would get the VIP tickets. I feel like that the extra cost is definitely worth the more intimate experience. But going back to the plants, so that there you go. That's some exciting news for you guys, plant foldies. Definitely let other plant foldies know. Spread the word about Texas Aeroid show. There's going to be some amazing plant vendors as well. But as you can see right here, Life Trends is actually releasing some croton plants in some really nice planters. Like this one right here is a croton that I would add to my collection, or I feel like I have it already. Again, with crotons, you do need to grow these out in full sun or lots of light. They prefer to be outdoors. So just definitely add that to your collection, but just know that you have to give it quite a bit of light. But as you can see, plant foldies, there's not as many plants from Urban Jungle and Live Trends as compared to some of the other Lowe's I visited out in the North Dallas area, but needless to say, there's still quite a bit of plants you can pick. These are the typical big box store plants that you will find, but what I like about big box store plants are they are typically cost effective and they're readily accessible to the average plant lover like myself. But as you can see here, I'm just going to pan around and show you all of the large foliage plants. We're going to go ahead and see what they have in the outdoor section in just a second, but lots of croton plants. Hopefully hopefully Plant Foldies, you've enjoyed this installment. You know, this is my first time at this Lowe's location. I am trying to venture out to other locations to just give you a little bit more diverse content, even though it is the same plants we are seeing basically every evening when I do a live premiere. I do think that there is something to be said about different locations. We can kind of compare and contrast and see which locations have a little bit better selection, a better, merchandising, etc., etc. Now, this one right here is another Dieffenbachia, and you can see that these Dieffenbachia can get large, and I just love the patterns and coloration of some Dieffenbachias. You can really find that they have like the little polka dots or speckling on them, and I find that a little bit endearing. And you can see here again, Plant Foldies, we've got some ZZ plants, we've got some crotons right over here. This one is a croton mame, so it's got more of a strap leaf, narrow leaf, and then we have a beautiful Aglaonema Silver Bay, and I always recommend Aglaonemas, especially that particular one. Dracaena marginata, this is another plant that is a Dracaena. I would say it's a little bit more finicky than the typical Dracaena because of the really thin leaves. Sometimes the tips of the leaves get a little bit brown, but it's still an easy to care for plant. It is low light tolerant, and it's got an interesting texture. So if you want a taller plant to add to your plant collection, that would be a plant I would recommend. But as far as all of the plants we've seen so far, it is a beautiful afternoon out at this Lowe's in Carrollton, Texas. So definitely check this location out if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I do intend to keep filming more locations just to get you guys some more diversity of just locations in general. And you can see Plant Foldies, it is full fall season right now. So we're just going to quickly walk out here and see that we have a bunch of crotons. We've got a bunch of pumpkins right over here. So I love fall colors. I really do like the oranges, the yellows, the reds, the browns, the caramels, the tans, all of it. It's a really nice, fall feeling. If you like fall, this is definitely, places where you can actually see some really nice displays. As you can see right here, again, Plant Foldies, we've got quite a bit of croton plants. In Southeast Asia where it is native, these plants can grow in full sun. They can grow into full-blown trees, and it's just interesting. But anyways, Plant Foldies, I really hope that you have enjoyed this plant shopping video. It is my first time again going to this Lowe's. You can see that they have quite a bit of plants already. I love it a lot, and just seeing all of these crotons, they just bring me so much joy here. I am really inspired to purchase some, so when the time is right this fall, I will purchase some. You can see that they have them in full sun, and they're doing very well. If you like this video, please hit the like button for this video. It definitely helps me out if you haven't already, as well as subscribing to my YouTube channel with the notification bell on. That way you will be informed whenever I do live premieres. As always, Plant Foldies, this is Richie at Grow Folds. You already know I will have a brand new video tomorrow. I'll see you then.